From San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60, Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Welcome into Radio Row. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, live from San Francisco. Radio Row. Abdalla, how about this? Let's just start the show off with Patrick Willis. Let's get that going. You and I didn't play the game. How about one of the best linebackers we've watched? Patrick Willis, former 49er, joins Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you all for having me.
Absolutely. Are you pumped for this game? Because a theme that we've talked about all week is that these two teams have really good defenses, right? So what do you see from the Seahawks and the Patriots to get to this point?
Yeah, they say offense wins games and defense wins championships. And as you just said, both teams have strong defenses, coached by good coaches. And so I'm looking for them to come out. I'm looking for it to be a defensive battle. I'm thinking it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think could be under 20 points.
Wow.
I would say.
Oh, wow.
That would be low scoring.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they both have offenses that can put up points, but they also have defenses that can stop guys. And so I'm an error more on the defensive side.
You mentioned the coaching staff. I've been asking every defensive player this. What is it like to have two defensive-minded head coaches in the Super Bowl for the first time in like 7 years? These offensive guys are kind of sitting on the sideline for once in a little bit. It's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. It just, for me, I'm a firm believer that your team takes on the identity of your coach. And, I'm me being a defensive guy, maybe I'm just a little biased, but, I like that hard-nosed, physical, rough. Even the offensive guys have that defensive kind of feel or whatnot, where they just gritty and just nasty or whatnot. And so, it's pretty awesome to see two defensive coaches, in the Super Bowl.
Hall of Famer Patrick Willis joining Bleck and Abdalla to start the show here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Mike Vrabel, year one with the Patriots. What do you think of the style that Mike Vrabel brings to a team? Because what we saw in 1 year, it seemed as if everything changed for the New England Patriots. They had a little attitude to it, and I think you need that to kind of change a culture with a football team going, they won 4 games last year, now they're in the Super Bowl. What have you seen from Vrabel and what he's brought to the table?
Well, first, I would say that Mike Vrabel he's a winner. He's won Super Bowls. He's been on great teams with the New England Patriots. And then you look at the track record where he's been, as far as him being a assistant coach to being a head coach. It's been positive. You hear how guys speak about him. You hear how they say that, he's not bigger than the team as far as like just getting out there and being a part of it and helping to be better. And so I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty awesome that he's been able to do what he's been able to do. And it just, it's pretty special because not all players who are good players and play for a long time can just step over and go be a good coach or whatnot. And so he has something up his sleeve. I mean, it does help that he was coach, under Coach Belichick as well. And so, I'm just rooting for him.
You've got a second-year quarterback in Drake May. He's taken a lot of sacks this year. He's taken 15 just in the playoffs so far. You've got Sam Darnold, who's seen a lot of games. He's on his 5th team so far. How do you attack these two quarterbacks in a different way since you've got two different guys? One guy has seen not a lot of football, one guy has seen a lot of football.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably say the one who hasn't seen a lot of football, it's just a matter of just really just getting them rattled, staying after them. Obviously, he's a good quarterback because he's gotten them this far. So it won't be easy to tame him in that form or fashion. But only having 2 years, I feel like he haven't seen enough to be able to just be able to be a Tom Brady. And I don't want to compare the two, but Tom is one of the ones that, you hear him say like, oh, I've studied this defense. I've known this. I've seen everything that a defense can possibly throw at you. But again, that's not taking anything away from Drake May and what he's been able to do, in his second year. But then you go over to Sam Darnold, and yes, he was a first-round pick and have been on different teams and hasn't maybe looked things have not gone for him as people may have wanted. But I think it's been absolutely right for him because he's in the right spot now. He's taking that team to a Super Bowl when there are a lot of people who doubted him, but for whatever reason, the pieces fit, and he has a great chance to go out this week and this Sunday and be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, and part of that conversation is developing players and coaching. And I think that's what's kind of cool to look at, the way Sam Darnold has gotten through some of the failure early in his career, being a top draft pick, what happened in New York. People still reference the quote from him of seeing ghosts as a quarterback. You know, how important is it as a player when you entered the league as a young player and having that stability of a coaching staff and allowing you to develop as you go along the way, right? Like, you didn't become a Hall of Famer day one in the NFL. It took time. It took a long career and a lot of hard work. So what does it mean to have like the stability of development around a player?
Yeah, I mean, I think first, too, we also had to take into consideration him as a player. He was a first-round draft pick. He was drafted early, and usually you're going to teams that are not, strong, not, I don't want to say not good, but they obviously they wasn't good the year before. And so, that's a lot to take on to come into an organization and to have that kind of weight on you. But I'll also say there's nothing like having a coach who is tough on you, but they believe in you. Like, and that's a combination, because a coach can be tough on you and not like you and don't want you around. But when you got a coach who's tough on you and they believe in you, and you find that little bit of momentum to believe in yourself, I mean, it could take you a long ways. And I feel like he have a coach right now who believes in him. He has a defense who's rocking with him, and so I feel like, man, he's just in a great spot right now.
I can go through all the accolades here that you've got, but the
do
one
it.
I mean, listen,
let's keep them for
NFL
2 hours.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, 5-time first team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler. There was
here we go.
There was the Pro Bowl games that happened a couple days ago. There's a lot been made of the Pro Bowl recently. Does it mean as much as it used to when you were named a 7-time Pro Bowler?
The games have changed. The Pro Bowl setting is a lot more different than it used to be. But man, I just watch it, and I just try to appreciate, just seeing the guys out there moving around and doing what they do. I do remember there was a time when I was playing the Pro Bowl. I was like, man, I do not want to tackle. I do not want to hit any of these guys that I've been hitting all year long or whatnot. So I get it, but it is a much different game than it used to be. That is why I'm glad I'm on this side now, doing bowling, and so I'm super excited to be here this week, especially going down tomorrow to be a part of Go Bowling Super Bowl Classic game that they have each year. It's going to be at Lucky Strikes. Myself, Sean Alexander, Jason Sehorn,
nice,
Doug Peterson, and I know I'm forgetting, and Coach Raffman are going to be there, and we're just going to be competing. We're going to be having a good time, and man, all the proceeds go to the NFL Alumni Association as well as former players, and so it's a great cause, and it's going to be a fun time.
Patrick, how did you get into bowling?
Man, I got into bowling when I was, I would say a freshman in college, but really got into bowling my rookie year during the spring when we used it as camaraderie amongst the guys. We would go every week, and they made it clear that I could not get one of those super cool balls until I rolled over a 200. And so, so for the whole spring ball, I was just trying to get over 200, but I finally struck over 200, and I walked right in there, and I got me a bowling ball that I still have today. So.
You have your own custom ball? And
I do.
Do you have more
That's
than
awesome.
just the one from the start?
Yes, I have two of them. Yes, I have two
I
of
don't
them.
think guys
So-
understand that. Like, you couldn't just sit in your room and play Madden and play video
Yeah.
games. Man. Like, you
That's
had to
great.
go actually and do something back then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's
I mean, Madden was around back then, but bowling was just one of those games that, I mean, what we do for a living, on the field, it was the one thing that we could get off the field that wasn't very taxing on the body, and you wasn't going to leave there kind of feeling like, you just played, 800 games of basketball. But yeah, I'm super excited for Go Bowling tomorrow. So
awesome. Looking forward to it as well. Thank you, Patrick.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us here on Westwood One
and
Sports.
I just want to leave real quick and let everyone know, appreciate you for the support and the love. Make sure you go to gobowling.com to get you a free game of bowling, because we want everybody to
hell yeah,
go bowl on behalf of Super Bowl
Absolutely.
60.
that's
So,
awesome. Patrick Willis, thank you for joining Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. The Hall of Famer Thanks for joining us here on the show.
Thank
It's
you all
Bleck
for
and
having me.
Abdalla here on Westwood
Appreciate
One
it.
Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. It's Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you. And what a way to start the show,
Absolutely.
Abdalla.
Great.
Hall of Fame
Yeah.
linebacker. Today is actually here on the show, Hall of Fame Day.
Yeah.
Because we will talk to Kurt Warner later. We taped already with Brian Urlacher, so we get a second Hall of Fame linebacker on the show. Devin Hester will stop by the show. We're loaded with Hall of Famers today.
It's a great day.
That's a
Thanks
list
to
right there.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
great day. Yeah.
So it's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. And we're going to keep it here as we continue on. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you for joining us.
Guys, thank you.
And Abdalla, as we get started with the show, one thing that I wanted to talk about before we talk to our next guest, and it's Ryan Harris, would be, thanks, Patrick. The one thing that I wanted to talk to you about is it is interesting that we're here for the Super Bowl, and we need to point out that, like, I think the NBA was onto something. I don't know if it was intentionally planned, but having the trade deadline be today at 3 Eastern, it feels like even though we're all here previewing the Super Bowl this week, the talk of the town has been the NBA. The last 3 days, it's been the moves at the NBA trade deadline.
Yeah, it has been. And I believe there's breaking news from Shams Charania that Giannis will not be moved at the deadline today. I mean, we kind of figured that out with the Kuminga trade yesterday and how the Warriors were kind of saying, well, we're not going to make that move and we're going to not make the move for Giannis. But as of right now, it seems that Shams Charania is reporting that the Bucks will not trade Giannis Antetokounmpo at the deadline today. So,
the reason that is because Golden State decided to trade Kuminga last night to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Kristaps Porzingis will be in the Bay with Steph Curry. I don't see that working.
No, I mean,
it's a last gasp effort to
like
try
your mom
and hold on
saying
to.
we have Giannis at home, right? Like it's not as good as Giannis. You know what I mean?
I don't. Is it like that's a new dad or something?
No. It's like when do you not understand the reference? It's like
No.
when you say you're
No,
like, oh,
I
I want
don't.
this at the store, and you're like, no, we have that at home, and it's like it's not as good. Like it's not as good. It's not as good of a version as
I
Giannis.
thought your mom was talking about dating
No,
and not
you
making
need to
dinner.
get on the internet more, man. You gotta
What is that from? What is that from?
You gotta stay up with the kids.
That's what the kids are saying.
Yeah. Like we have it's like saying like you have like the Timu version of that at home. Like Giannis is like
all right.
Porzingis is like the Timu version of Giannis.
What about like pizza rolls or bagel bites?
Take a lap.
All right. See you guys later. I'm gonna go hang out with Patrick Willis.
Take a lap.
I do also think here on Radio Row, Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you on Westwood One Sports, Sirius XM channel 375, noon to 3 Eastern today. Jim Rome will take over at 3 Eastern. If you want to join the show throughout the day, you can call us at 310-840-4910. We do need to update people. Bleck and Abdalla here at the Super Bowl. Everyone's talking football. We are talking Super Week.
Oh, yeah.
How did it go down yesterday? Keep people updated. What's the plan for today?
It was a struggle yesterday. So I went the whole day, scoured the city for soups. Couldn't find any.
Okay.
I mean, it was a day. Like we were here pretty late yesterday. We had some
your life sounds very difficult.
Yeah, like we were here talking to
What is wrong with you?
professional athletes, former professional athletes.
How many times do you
Hello,
say that a
Raj.
week? Hello, guys. How many
Hello.
times a week does he say, what is wrong with you?
Current professional
Well,
athletes.
he's making it. I heard him this morning talking to Drake on the morning show, and he's making it seem like we're
Actually, I did.
you know,
If you actually
working
listen,
construction.
if you actually listen to when I joined Drake Toll today
yeah,
during the Drake Toll show,
you
You
said
would've-
that you were very excited, and then it's
you
so
would have
cool,
you
and-
would have
I
you would
know,
have heard
I
me
heard
say
it, I
how
heard
great this
Yeah,
experience
no, I
is
know, but
and how
right
lucky
now,
we are to be here.
right now you're painting a picture like this is hard work.
It's not.
Finding soup in San Francisco.
But I feel like my partner here, Chris Bleck, did me a disservice. And when you picked
What did I do?
When you picked the restaurant for dinner last night,
Yeah.
because you made the
Was it-
reservation,
Was it any good?
I feel like
Did you enjoy
purposely picked a restaurant that didn't have soup.
Oh,
I
sabotage.
feel like you tried to be a saboteur
Okay.
and not take me to a restaurant that had soup. So at my finest hour is when I do my best work. And
Okay.
I hopped on Grubhub and I've managed to get soup delivered to the hotel last night it wasn't the 11th hour, it was at like the 10th hour because it was 10 o'clock at night. So I had soup delivered, a lobster bisque delivered from Hyde Street Seafood House and Raw Bar.
Okay.
A very well-known, old school, they have like the Marlin on the wall type place, like seafood restaurant, old school, very highly rated lobster bisque, and it was delicious. It was a very good soup. and it was very highly rated bisque. It was great, creamy, full of lobster chunks. It was great. Really hit the spot. Even though I was full of tapas, which some people don't get to say that they're full of tapas, it was great.
All right,
4 out of 5.
Coming up next, Ryan Harris from Westwood One Sports will join us. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. When anything can happen during the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
Here's how it works. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. That's code B&A and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in-state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
This Sunday, 11 years in the making, the Super Bowl 49 rematch.
It's intercepted in the goal line. It's intercepted by Malcolm Butler.
Will Seattle make the most of their second shot? Seahawks, Patriots, Super Bowl 60 at 5:30 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, hanging out with you until 3 Eastern on SiriusXM Channel 375. Bleck and Abdalla right here on Westwood One Sports. You need to check out the broadcast of the big game this Sunday, the Super Bowl 60, Seahawks, Patriots. Ryan Harris from Westwood One Sports will be on the pregame. He'll be on the halftime. He'll be on the postgame show. And he joins Bleck and Abdalla right now here on Westwood One Sports. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, guys? Happy Super Bowl days. We're like on the countdown now. You can feel it. Can't you smell it in the air? It's electric.
Ryan, we've been here since Sunday afternoon, and in the last 24 hours, it's definitely ramped up. People are pumped for the game.
I mean, everybody wants to come in on Wednesday, but that's a long week now. So Thursday, I mean, there's a lot of, especially with the West Coast, it's kind of funny. East Coast, people will get there on a Wednesday because you lose that time, but West Coast, everybody's coming in about Thursday morning, and it's on and popping.
What has you most excited for this game? What storyline has you most pumped for this game?
This is the first Super Bowl I can remember where there's not a bad guy. There's not a villain to me. I mean, even last year, right, you had Patrick Mahomes was a villain. I mean, how about that? You're so good, you eventually, people can't stand you. Tom Brady says hello, too. But, I mean, if you look at it right now, you got a team in the Patriots that has so many great stories. I mean, Jack Gibbons, enjoy watching him if you're watching at home. I mean, 51 for the Patriots, that's as good of a linebacker as you're going to see. That defense is playing out of their mind. Williams might get an MVP as a defensive tackle. Christian Barmore might. And then, oh, by the way, you've got all these guys who just grinded it out. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson was there for Gerard Mayo, and now he's here playing in the Super Bowl. And then on the other side, how about Sam Darnold and the mental work that he's been able to do? I mean, all of us have been embarrassed. Did we handle it like Sam did? Right? I mean, he's just come back and proven you wrong every single time this year. So it's a great story on both sides, and it's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, you know, and what's funny, the way you kind of started that answer, Ryan, is we talked about it last week heading into, or 2 weeks ago now, heading into the championship games in each conference that I felt there was a fatigue from fans across the country with Kansas City. Yeah. And that no matter what we got this weekend, no matter the matchup, it was going to be a refreshing, exciting game to look forward to, because I just am sick of hearing about Mahomes, Kelsey, Taylor Swift, all of that, the sideshow stuff that goes into the media coverage of a big game like this. And it's nice to not have to have that conversation about Kansas City this year.
I mean, for many people, yes, I love excellence. You know, I'm a little bit different than most people. I love what Kansas City's been able to do. Of course, I played for Andy Reid. Yeah. That was the year we didn't throw a touchdown pass to a receiver. Also, Travis Kelce's first year playing now. So, like, looking back, it looks a little different. Yeah. But the best thing about this having two teams, and even this Patriots team, right, very different because of Tom going to Tampa Bay and things like that. This brings new fans. I mean, think about how many kids in Seattle, or how many kids have just liked the Seattle colors, who are now, the stars in elementary school because their team's in the Super Bowl. And for everybody who was making fun of the Patriots and saying you'll never win again, how about, generations of Patriots fans who have Super Bowl experiences, now the kids get to get it. I mean, that's how I grew into this game. I was a Vikings fan first, and now I'm a Broncos fan. But you have to grow from big opportunities and big games, and to have new teams in here. Even the Patriots have been here before. They're a newish team. It's great for the conversation, great for the fans.
Our producer, Raj Sharon, is a diehard Bronco fan.
Yes.
Yeah. He has told us multiple times this week, if Bo Nix didn't break his ankle, the Broncos would be in this game. Do you agree?
I mean, I want to say yes, but the facts are the facts. I'm in my third year of law school, so we deal with only facts. And the facts are,
all right.
And the fact is you have a growing issue there, right? I mean, first they said it was on the second to last play, then they said, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then to have, and it's subtle, right? I don't know if a lot of people caught it, but when Coach Payton says it was a matter of if not when, that's talking to a body weakness. And let me tell you what us athletes never want to hear, that our body is weak, right? Because, hey, we're here. It's about for especially for Bo Nix, what did he play? 18, 19 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's an issue there. I'm sure they'll
he
recover.
also pushed back that week.
Of course.
He pushed back in the media.
Wouldn't
saying,
you?
Why would the coach
absolutely,
be talking about my past surgeries or whatever?
Yeah,
It was interesting to kind of pay attention
Well,
to.
and I remember one time I had a strength coach say, Ryan, you get injured so much because you're soft boned. And I turned to him and I said, you say that again, I'm going to put you between this leg machine and I'm going to close it. You just don't do that to players. And coaches forget that sometimes, right? They think, hey, we're joking. But, as a player, you put so much time, energy, and focus into your nutrition. I mean, have you ever worked on a muscle that's not even bigger than your hand, that's deep in your leg? That's called your calf, right? You got to work that out and stretch it. So players don't like that. But I do believe the Broncos could have been in the Super Bowl if Bo Nix was there. You saw Jarrett Stidham get the opportunity of a lifetime and just didn't cash in, didn't have enough chips.
So with Sam Darnold and obviously changing the narrative and what he can do from being a Jet to now where he is playing in the Super Bowl, if he wins on Sunday and gets Super Bowl MVP and all that, is that finally in the rearview mirror, or will people still need to see more from him to get that out of the mindset?
What else would people want to see? Like 3 Super Bowls? I mean, you got to remember now Jets fans are upset, right? Because they haven't even sniffed the playoffs since drafting Sam Darnold, and they didn't believe in him clearly, right? I mean, Sam Darnold is proving what happens when a coaching staff believes in a player and when the player does the individual, independent mental work. I mean, mental performance coaches are a big deal in all professional sports. If you're a parent of a kid in competitive sports, get him a mental performance coach. Sam Darnold owes us nothing. We have been as brutal to him as any player in the last 10 years. And all he's done is rebuild himself to be knocking on the doorstep of a Super Bowl championship.
When you look at that Seattle offense, Jackson Smith and Jigba this season has been incredible. And I think what he did in the playoffs, it's just adding to it. And if there was a player who's not a quarterback that has a really good chance to win the MVP this weekend, I think it's Jackson Smith and Jigba, because and I know that the story will likely go back to Sam Darnold. The quarterback's the one that has to service the wide receiver. But some of those routes that Jackson Smith and Jigba runs, he is so wide open. What do you see from a player like that?
Well, number one, he's got excellent route technique. And what that means is when he takes off from the line of scrimmage, he does it the same, whether it's a go route, whether it's a deep cross, whether it's a slant. And so what that does for a defensive back is they have to backpedal, and they can't switch their hips yet, right? They don't know, because if I switch my hips and I guess, well, now he's going that way. And if I switch, guess the other way, he's gonna conversely do the opposite. And then he gets the ball when he's getting the ball. That's the telltale sign of a great receiver. When he's getting the ball and he still does. And last week it was a touch, or 2 weeks ago it was a touchdown. I mean, come on, man. And the issue is with the Patriots, they play a lot of cover 4. They want to keep things in front of them. They're not going to be able to do that on Sunday. The big key for them is going to be their defensive line, and that's where you might also get a non-quarterback MVP in Milton Williams, who had a fantastic Super Bowl last year as well.
With Drake May and all the sacks he's taken throughout the regular season, 15 so far in the playoffs, with the offensive line and Will Campbell and the issues that he's having, how do you help that situation with just 2 weeks to prepare? Obviously, if Drake May takes 5 sacks in the Super Bowl, the Patriots aren't winning.
Well, I mean, let's remember they were down in the last 2 playoff games. They started down.
Yeah.
What happened? And so this is what people miss. You forget Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator for the Patriots. You know who he drafted? A guy named Tim Tebow. You know who would take sacks and make one play at the end of the game to win it? Tim Tebow. So you think that Josh McDaniels gets frustrated? I mean, that's the biggest leap in his growth as an offensive coordinator. He sticks with the run. If it's a -2 run, that's okay. They're going to run it again. Because when you run the football early and often, you force 11 players on defense to actually play defense. And you can only run me over so many times before I change my mind as a human being, right? That's a human natural characteristic. So that's something where it's not flashy. He completed 10 passes and won an AFC championship game. That's crazy. But this Patriots team is so patient. They're willing to wait and to run the ball and to force the issue in the fourth quarter.
Being a former player who played on the offensive line, break down the technique from what you've seen from Will Campbell to this point, because in the season, like Abdalla was pointing to, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
But then it's been a struggle throughout the playoffs, and it seems like the opposing defenses know this and they're attacking it. And obviously, the Texans game is a little different. Will Anderson being on the other side,
Woo.
and then Hunter being there as well. Like, I don't think there's many rookies who can withstand that. But when you see the technique of Will Campbell, what do you see?
I see all the signs of a player who's getting dog cussed by his coaches and not encouraged. And I know that too, because I've been there in those Josh McDaniels meetings. Look, they've won. Say what you want. He's the only starting left tackle in the Super Bowl for the Patriots, right? There's only one of those guys. Right. So what I've seen throughout the year and even in the playoffs is great technique, great balance, and he's got that dog in him now. Will Campbell, if he gets you on the ground, you're not getting up easily. Now, they changed the rule about spiking because of me, but I'll tell you what, Will Campbell's going to push the issue. But the greater problem is that you're seeing a transition. You saw it in college with Indiana. This style of dog cussing and putting down a player saying, are you stupid? Didn't I tell you this? Didn't I tell you that? That doesn't work anymore. And so what I see is a player who's lost his confidence a little bit, still has the technique and skill. That's the coach's job. On week 27, when your player may not be playing to the same speed, that's your job as a coach to get them focused, to get them motivated, and to let them know you believe in them. Doesn't look like that's happening for Will Campbell.
What was this week like for you, getting ready, all the preparation, dealing with all the media, and what are those guys going through on Thursday today, just a few days before the game?
Well, you're thrilled today because now it's the final install. You know, you've done it before, and coaches are acting like it's different this whole week. It's really not. Families typically come in tomorrow, so this is your last kind of day as a team before things get real crazy. Now, you are removed from a lot of it, right? You go from the hotel, bus, practice, bus, media schedule, hotel. That's all you do. Now, when you get to that media scrum, you got Snoop Dogg and things like that there. You know, maybe Taylor Swift will arrive. I'm a Swiftie, Starlight, you know. But it's just you realize how big of a spectacle it is. But especially here in Santa Clara where we won, you're so far removed from a lot of the happenings that you really don't get a lot of that feel. Now, you go down the night, you get here after that opening ceremony, you guys have fun now. You know, same thing you guys would do if you were – a week ahead trying to burn some steam and stress. But now is when you start realizing how big this moment is for your life and your career. You have family coming in, and it's not like they arrive and they're like, hey, great to see you. They arrive and they're crying, right? Because your parents, they already believe you won the Super Bowl. I can't believe you're going to win the Super Bowl. You're like, wow, I got to go out there and play still. So it's a variety of emotions, and you just have to focus on what's important. And I'll take you in the huddle, what Peyton said on the first play. We're all in there, and he goes, breathe, okay, breathe. And the 10 of us were like, oh, yeah, we got to breathe. Like, it's just so big, and it's because you're either on the doorstep of immortality or you're on the doorstep of the greatest failure of your life, and that's a tough place to be.
Well, in what really sucks about that is, like, you're not a failure. You made it to the final game.
That's not what they say at the bars, right?
I know, but, like, that's right. Like, there's fans who, like, they don't see it as you were an AFC champ that you lost the Super Bowl, or, it's all that matters is the final score. What was the biggest distraction during the week while you were prepping for the Super Bowl?
Wow. I mean, one, your whole routine is gone. That's a great question. Your whole routine is gone, meaning like we as an offensive line would always watch film after a Wednesday and Thursday practice together. We kick the coach out of the room. Hey, we're just talking. We want to make sure we're on the same page. You can't do that. Second thing, though, it's really before the game. And it's about a half-hour pregame. Watch this now on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're going to see one team come out. Let's go. Let's go. Well, you got 30 minutes until the kickoff.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I still remember to this day, Lady Gaga singing the national anthem in a red sequence dress, right? Can my wife see me looking at her?
No,
Can
yeah,
she
right.
see me?
Right.
I am distracted, right? And here come the Blue Angels flying over the field, and I literally took a breath, and I said, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, I'm going to run the play that's called. I can execute the technique. I will be a champion at the end of this day. I mean, there's so much to take you away. And naturally, you want to think about anything else than the biggest moment of your life. But that's the gift. The gift is to be there and to enjoy it. And I still remember in the game thinking, all right, I'm just going to fire off and start hitting people, because at the end of the day, either I'm never watching this film or this is the greatest movie I've ever made.
As we look forward to Sunday, you're going to be a part of our broadcast here on Westwood One Sports.
Yes.
What's the aspect of the broadcast that you're looking forward to most?
Working with a top-tier team. I mean, Westwood One has the best analysts, and we have fun together. We like each other from play-by-play to sideline. It's just, I'm lucky to be on the broadcast team for this game. And so I'm looking forward to the different insights from Golick, from Kurt Warner, from myself, and working with the legend Scott Graham. I mean, this guy is
Scott's the man.
He's the godfather of broadcasting.
We met him yesterday for the first time, and he's fantastic.
You looked for a ring to kiss, didn't you? You're like, wow. So
voice.
Yeah,
yes.
And then I think I got the best job. I mean, I get to walk you up to the game, eat all the free nachos, tell you what's happening at halftime, see the halftime show, and tell you what happened after the game. I mean, I got a pretty good gig.
That's
Ryan,
perfect.
we will be listening. Thank you for stopping by Westwood One Sports, pregame, halftime, postgame. Ryan Harris with Bleck and Abdalla. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Go Irish.
Absolutely. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One in the Westwood One Sports app. Sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We'll be right back.
New England looks to win a record-breaking 7th Lombardi, but Seattle's #1 defense stands in the way. Patriots, Seahawks, Super Bowl 60, Sunday, 5:30 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome back to Radio Row, live from San Francisco. It's Bleck and Abdalla here with you on Westwood One and the Westwood One Sports app. Chris Myers, Emmy Award-winning sports broadcaster, is now on the set with Bleck and Abdalla. Welcome to the show.
Chris, Adam, nice to see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
You've been busy as of late.
Well, I just flew from New York at Madison Square Garden live. We're on Tuesday night. I announced the 150th Best in Show winner with the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. It was kind of an exciting. They picked there's 7 final groups, and then you pick that one dog, and it was a Doberman Pinscher that ended up winning.
And see, like that's where it's funny. We're here to talk about
You're the
Super
dog
Bowl.
guys.
Yes,
but
we are the dog show.
We always joke that we're the dog show. So we consume the product, we watch, we enjoy, we sometimes break down what's going on.
Yeah, good.
I just love how serious it all is.
Well,
it's great.
The movie Best in Show portrayed. That's how I prepared when they asked me to kind of do this, and it is. They're very serious, but it's so serious and real. It's comical. And Catherine O'Hara, who passed away, was part of that. Of course, the great comedic actress. We gave her a little love, a little send off on the broadcast. But it is, it's amazing because they talk about measuring the dog against the standard. I mean, imagine if you did that in other sports. It's like how does a German Shepherd and a Doberman compete with a Chihuahua? It's like ultimately the judge is sequestered for. I mean, they don't see for 48 hours before the final judge, the judge of Best in Show. I mean, it really is a cool event.
I know my wife was super excited. She sent me the picture because our dog's name is Penny, so she said
Penny. It was the name of the
Doberman.
Doberman.
Yeah. So she sent me the same thing, and I just like to think of things like if there was a Radio Row for all of that, and people got just as excited for all of that, and there was all this coverage because
I'm telling you what, we would try and get there. If that were the case.
We would be there.
If Westwood One Sports and you guys, I'll talk to the guy who runs because they're moving on from Fox, but they were looking for radio coverage, and you guys would be great.
Could you imagine?
But you have to walk that fine line.
No, I know.
I like Fox. They said, "Hey, go have fun," but we never want to offend anybody. Like the Dalmatian would come out and they would talk about the spots and be serious, and I'd say, "Hey, there's 100 more around here somewhere."
Exactly.
And they would say, "No, this is the only one." And would move on. So there was a dog named what was it, Tequila, and I said, he's new to that. I said, oh, he's got a shot. They're like, no, not really. This one. So those
Went
are
over their head,
those
right?
that's okay, but they're
Yes.
into their craft, and I respect that.
We're also here, obviously, to talk about the Super Bowl. We're at Radio Row in San Francisco. What do you think of this game, this matchup, Seattle, New England? Who do you like coming up on Sunday?
Well, NFL on Fox, I got to call a couple of Patriot games during this year, and so I got to see Drake May, and he was better than advertised, and in person in production meetings, watching him, talking to him. I mean, really ahead of schedule in terms of maturity at that position in a complex Josh McDaniels offense, and his standard from his years with Tom Brady as a coordinator. And then I called a Seahawk game early when they were in Jacksonville, a road game. They were so good on the road.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold, through the years of calling games, I had someone who was even in Carolina, and then briefly, even though he wasn't playing a lot, San Francisco, Minnesota. So I like the story of the two quarterbacks. I mean, I'm surprised that both teams, maybe haven't seen them during the year. I thought they'd be playoff teams, but I didn't know that they'd wind up in the Super Bowl. Things fell right for the Patriots. I think the Seahawks defense will be the difference. New England has a good defense. I think the Patriot receivers will have trouble getting separation. So for New England to win, I think May's going to have a Tom Brady-like game, or the running game has to click, but teams just don't run well on Seattle. And on the other side, Sam Darnold, he's improved. He said he learned a lot with his stops, especially in San Francisco from Kyle Shanahan, and in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell about his game, his offense. He's got an outstanding receiver, but the running of Walker has been a difference maker. Well, he's gone to a whole nother level as a player. So Darnold can make a mistake and not feel like it's all over because his defense can bail him out.
You mentioned calling a couple Patriots games, and we talked to a couple former players that played with Mike Vrabel, and they were actually not surprised that the players bought into Mike Vrabel, because it was never a question of motivation and that kind of thing, but just at how good of an X's and O's guys he was, and time management and that kind of thing. Are you surprised that he's been this good? Not this early on, because he's obviously done it before, but to get to this point, to get to the Super Bowl in year one with a new team this quickly.
Yeah, and with a young quarterback, he did two things jumped out at me when we saw him this year, and I had called some of his games when he was in Tennessee, and he got the most out of his players in Tennessee with I think a limited roster. But number one is that he, as a consultant last year when he was kind of out of work, so to speak, with Cleveland, he was looking at the teams, at certain players. Notice how some of the free agents he brought in, a couple of ex-Titans, people in key spots. So he was already planning wherever it was going to be. He was kind of preparing for his next head coaching job, which was smart on his part. I think he kind of knew. I think Robert Kraft kind of knew that they were going to make that change. They sacrificed the first-year head coach, the one-year head coach, the former player, the linebacker there, a different linebacker. The other thing, he's a kinder, gentler Mike Vrabel in a good way. You see shaking hands outside the locker room for every player. I saw him at practice. He's excited for them. He knows his young quarterback. He can be tough on guys, showing a sense of humor. But he's taken the strength of a Bill Belichick. So many of his assistants fail because they try to be him. Bill with the tough, and Mike can be tough, but he really is kind of a player's coach. This is a likable Patriot team this time, and it's a lot because of, I think, his growth as a head coach.
Yeah, and that's surprising because I think the story nationally is that if you are not from the Boston area, then you probably are not a fan of the Patriots or the story. You mentioned Vrabel going to the locker room to greet the players. Who was a current player this week said that they noticed that about Vrabel in talking to us?
Yeah.
Who was it? It was a defensive player. I can't pull the name right now, but someone this week was like, what stood out to me is he makes sure he stands there and he gives a handshake and a fist bump to every single player entering the Patriots locker room, and that meant something. And I was like, that's interesting because, I don't know, it seems simple, but apparently not every head coach does that.
And think about your job and what you're doing. It's not just the stars, and he's thanking them in a sense for win or lose halftime. And it's the backup lineman, the special teams player who, he waits for all of them. I don't know how he has the time to do that. But this is something that he did it kind of on his own, and you could see it. You could see that they had a great shot in the playoff game where he's holding, with the touchdown pass. He's holding, and you could see his genuine excitement. He didn't want to overdo it for the cameras, but he's bonded with these guys. That takes a lot of. He comes from a family environment on his own. I think he's really enjoying himself more as a head coach than what I remember in Tennessee.
What do you make of the kind of maybe refreshing angle that we have two defensive-minded head coaches in this game, where every coaching cycle we go through, it's like people are just trying to hire friends of Sean McVay because they want McVay's brain in their building to run an offense, yet we're here at the Super Bowl and we're talking about two defensive-minded head coaches, and there were a couple that got new jobs in this coaching cycle. Jesse Minter being one, right? So what do you make of that and how teams kind of approach finding a leader of their football program?
I remember that line, Wade Phillips. Remember, he was Sean McVay's first defensive coordinator and a former head coach. You got to say, I got guys trying to become head coach. If you shake hands with Sean McVay, you're getting hired as a head coach. It was a little extreme, but you're right. And some of those have worked out, some haven't. I think a good coach, and I got to tell you, Mike McDonald, having done this for 30 years at the network level, ESPN the last 20 was on. Mike McDonald's the best second-year head coach I think I've ever seen in terms of his command and what he's been able to. And you can see how they handled Sam Darnold, how he's made Walker, but how he's improved that defense with some of the moves. And Jesse Minter, we had a Charger game his first year when Harbaugh came in his first year, and I knew his background from Michigan a little bit. But I walked out of the meeting, our production meetings, where there's no cameras, and they're kind of straightforward. They trust you with some things. They'll tell you, this guy, if you see this, he'll do that, or this guy doesn't play because of that. And you just know that for the viewer, but you couch it. Our analyst does carefully. I walked out of the meeting. I said, this guy's got to be a head coach. At some point, I don't care what position what team he goes to, and even though he's defensive. So I think ultimately that's what you're looking for. I think some of the teams or owners fall into, we want a young quarterback, we got to develop him, so let's not hire a defense. You can hire a defensive coach and then hire a very good offensive coordinator who can devote more time. And so I think they're thinking a little more broadly now.
How much pressure is on Sam Darnold in this game to change the narrative around play? I know he had the game of his life in the NFC Championship game, but to kind of put that mentality of Jets Sam Darnold seeing ghosts and what he did in the bad playoff game in Minnesota to now this is a new Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think many of the fans or viewers remember that vision of the playoff game, and that's all they see. And if they haven't seen this team along the season, they haven't seen his growth. And it isn't just 1 year. He talked about his important stops in San Francisco and Minnesota as learning some things that we talked about and applying them to himself. So I can see why people are waiting for him to screw up again. But as I said, he can misstep a little and the team will bail him out. And I think he knows that. So I don't think he feels the pressure. At least when I've been around him during the year, I was amazed how relaxed and confident he was. Not cocky, almost grateful too, to the point of,
he seems
he's really at peace with things.
Yeah.
And as I said, he was never angry or for a number one pick. What happened to me? And I asked him about, did he ever think about just giving it up? He said, no, because I love football and I know I could get better. And he didn't blame changing coordinators. So I think he's really in a good spot. It's a feel-good story. He's kind of a low-key personality, but he really has the respect, too, of the guys in the huddle. That jumped out at me when we called their game earlier.
And I think Sam's background is he was one of those kids that played all sports type of thing, and he wasn't just a product to be a quarterback type of thing. We have 1 minute left, Chris, and I want to talk about this. We talked to Jeff Garcia yesterday about Revive. You use Revive as well.
Yes, and I encourage people because was never a professional athlete, but with all the traveling, aches and pains, I try to stay active. Golf, pickleball, I play half-court basketball.
Yeah.
And I've used the Revive machine, so I'll just mention the website. Go to MuellerRevive.com. Nike has the slogan, just do it. Mueller says, just revive, which means recover and repair yourself so you can get out, whether you want to go play softball the next day or basketball. The three things it does, and it used to be for professional athletes, still is. Now you can get the home kit and use it for your entire family. Helps with fatigue, reducing pain, and enhances circulation. And they are giving in college football this year, the first Revive Award. I don't know if Jeff mentioned that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, which to me, I'm surprised they don't have a comeback player of the year physically for that.
Right.
But this is the right kind of product for young athletes but also for the regular guy or somebody who's maybe just old and tired. You can heal fast at home.
Like us as well. Thank you, Chris.
I wasn't saying that. It wasn't a statement about
Thank
you guys.
you. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks. And I'm going to work on that dog show for you guys to do
Awesome.
the radio.
Love it. Chris Myers. We'll have more live from Radio Row with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60. Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
That's right. Welcome back to Radio Row here in San Francisco as we get set for Super Bowl 60. Patriots and Seahawks all week long. We're live from Radio Row. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. For those of the new listeners to the Bleck and Abdalla show, the one thing that they know is that we are Chicago guys.
Yeah.
And this is also something where today on the show, it's Hall of Fame Day, right? We started the show with Patrick Willis. We will talk to Brian Urlacher. We have Kurt Warner on the show. And now, Devin Hester, Hall of Famer, former Bear, joins Bleck and Abdalla. What's up, Devin? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys, man?
I mean, this place is buzzing. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, it is. It's truly a lot. I don't ran into a couple guys that I played with, a couple Hall of Famers that I don't talk to already. So it's a nice crowd.
Anyone try and catch you, track you down? Because they're like, during our playing days, we couldn't get that done.
Nah, not yet. I just got in here, so hopefully a little later I'll be running around a little bit.
It's kind of like a reunion for some of you guys. I saw you talking to Matt Forte over there. Like we just said, Urlacher's here. Is it nice to come in here sometimes and I know you're working too, but to catch up with some of the guys you don't get to talk to, don't get to see throughout the year?
Most definitely. When you're out the league for a while, you don't run into these guys often like this. And then for it to be a building with so many of us in here at one time, it's like a family reunion almost. It's always an honor to be here and catch up with these guys.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's also cool for, Adam and I didn't play. We went to your games and we were watching and, we were talking to Brian and it was a pre-record that we had earlier in the morning. So we're going to air it later here on the show. But Urlacher was telling us that he was at the playoff game and you were there in Chicago and just how cool it was to be welcomed back, but also the atmosphere and what was taking place in Chicago against Green Bay and just the new vibe with the Chicago Bears. What have you seen watching this team year one with Ben Johnson and just the way that it kind of went this season?
I think the number one thing with Chicago is the players look like they're having fun. And what I mean by that is so many years where you have players that's so uptight. You have the coaches that's uptight, fighting for their jobs. And when you have coaches that's uptight, it trickles down to the players. The way Ben has been with these players this last year really, really sparked them to the point where you see the guys are smiling, they're happy, they're enjoying football. Football is not just business, but now we are doing something that we love doing. And that's something that I've seen that I haven't seen in a while with the Bears. Is everybody's happy. Everybody's having fun, all the way down to the equipment manager. And it's like the good old days when I played, when it was just all about football. We didn't care about the business side. Everybody was on board on just winning games and making it to the playoffs. And that's the way it looked this year.
What was it like being at that game? The crowd, the excitement, being back at Soldier Field. What was it like being at that for you?
It was great. The one thing that stood out was we won. And we beat Green Bay.
It was nice, right?
But it just felt like old Chicago football, cold, a night game. I love the night games. And then, just going against your rival team in the playoffs and coming out with the W. And everybody, like I say, the crowd was into it. And everybody was just having fun.
It always felt like, to me, being a fan and sitting in the stands at Soldier Field, like when there was a big game, big moment, you always showed up. Was there something about the prep that you kind of knew the lights were a little brighter, national TV audience, or whatever it was, a Monday night, a Sunday night, a playoff game, where the ball's in the air, you're back for a punt return, and it's showtime? Is there something that you thought of before those moments?
I think it's just more as a player, you just have all day leading up to it, thinking about it, thinking about what you're going to do, thinking about who's watching, thinking about watching games before yours and seeing guys and seeing some of the things that they did where you felt you could have did better. So you just looking at all that stuff, you know what I mean? And preparing yourself. Okay, I see a play that he made on a 12 o'clock game, a 1 o'clock game that I'm glad I seen him make that mistake. Now I know not to make that mistake. So when it comes to the night games, it's just so much preparation and so much time you have on your mind to analyze and figure out what's the best thing to do and how I'm gonna do it.
Speaking of prep, going back to when you guys were in the Super Bowl, what was this week like leading up for you guys? This whole media, all the frenzy, what was it like leading up for you guys?
It was very overwhelming for players, exactly for players, and the coaches and the media guys do a great job of minimizing some of the distraction and so much overwhelming, doing all the interviews and things like that. But at the same time, as a player, things that you want to cherish, because you never know when you're gonna get the opportunity to be back in that big show. So you want to cherish all those moments, take it all in, and have something to remember. But at the end of the day, you're here for a purpose, and that's to win.
Yeah, it's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We spent a lot of time working in Chicago. We both live in Chicago, and so this is a great privilege to have you and Brian stop by the show today and to talk a little Bears football on the national stage. Devin, Adam was talking about the prep for the Super Bowl. I think the one thing, I can speak as someone who's 40, the best moment as a Chicago Bears sports fan for me was your return in the Super Bowl. And I think there's a lot of people our age, millennials, who look at that and they say, when Hester returned that kick at the start of the Super Bowl, we thought we had it. and like that moment, and I think going back to your point of view when that took place, I think a lot of people stamped you that day into the Hall of Fame when you had that kick return against the Colts. And then the story that came out after that, the Colts were planning on not kicking to you at all throughout the game, and they changed their mind right before kick. Take us into what it was like, the Super Bowl, the prep, standing there right after the national anthem plays. Here's the first kickoff, and boom, you found a spot. You went to the right and off to the races.
That whole day leading up to it, we of course we had special team meetings, and throughout the week, Coach Dungy would go to the press and they would talk about the special team, and we knew that one Monday he was not kicking it, Tuesday they were debating about it, Wednesday they were considering it, Thursday they changed their mind, they wasn't kicking it, and then so that morning of special team they made a bold statement that they're strongly thinking about kicking it. And so we knew right then and there that we did have an opportunity to get our hands on the ball. And I knew leading up to the game, if I just got one return, and if I got a big return, if it wasn't a touchdown, but it was like 30, 40-yard return, that I wasn't going to see the ball again. So I knew that if I got that first opportunity to get my hands on it, that I had to make the best of it. And just leading up to that game, man, it was just so exciting for me. I was a rookie, and I had veteran guys coming up to me telling me, hey, Devin, I've been playing 13, 14 years in the league.
Yeah.
And this is my first time being in the Super Bowl. You're a true rookie.
Yeah.
And you get opportunity to experience this type of moment. And he was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen, but he was like, just try to make the best you can at this opportunity, because you never know if you'll see this again. And so I had all that going through my mind, and I knew that if I got my hands on the ball, it was cancel Christmas for me. It was no way I was gonna get Tiger. So if I got another return, it was going to the house.
I always thought watching, like, a lot of the times where I would always be sitting was in one of the end zones. So like on the play, it's like kind of the viewpoint is the coach's tape. You can see all the running lanes. And I always felt that if the first defender didn't get you, they weren't going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you felt? If you can make that first guy miss, you then had the momentum to then work against the rest of the defenders who were trying to guess where you would go?
I kind of disagree with that situation.
Okay.
My mindset was I wasn't worried about the first guy. That's an automatic miss. If it's just him by himself, he's in trouble. I was surpassing him, and I was looking at the next guy. So if I can make the next guy miss, it was a touchdown.
When they changed the rules to the new dynamic kickoff, were you stretching out a little bit, being like, I think I got a few more years left in me, because I think I could get a few more returns in me?
The new rule is I love it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know why it's more returns. Every time I watch the game, I get so upset with the returners. That's that type of the system that they have right now fits the type of player I am.
Yeah.
Is the kickoff is almost like a punt return. if you look at it, and so I just feel if I played in this era, they will be changing that rule again.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. And I think that that's why we all marveled at watching you. And from the moment you stepped into the NFL, you were great at it. And to me, it goes back, I remember the first time I saw that cut up of the YouTube video, you at Miami. And I think there was a play, you can correct me on this. I remember seeing you were going backwards multiple times. That still goes down to me. For everything that you did in the NFL, some of those returns at the U, those were way cooler the way they look. You were trapped. You had guys all around you. You're now running backwards and around. Tell us about the days at the U.
The days at the U, man, was we had so many great athletes on our team. And it felt like an all-star game. And when you feel like you're the all-star team and you have all the great players, then sometimes you typically do things you wouldn't do. And so we was able to get away with running backwards and coaches yelling, why he doing that? He's losing 10 yards, but then you realize he's losing 10 yards to gain 80. So we was able, unfortunately, to get away with that type of thing. And most definitely, we felt we were just better than everybody. We're faster, we're stronger. And so that played a part, and some of the things I was doing on the field was unacceptable by players, but then in our caliber, we felt like we was able to get away with it.
Devin, tell us about Ralph Foods, the Crunch Time Hero Southern Recipe small batch that you're on behalf of.
So it's pretty much a foundation that these guys came up with. Mike Dicker kind of felt that, back in the days where guys, when it comes to insurance and things like that, after 5 years of playing in the NFL, they cut off their insurance. And so they came out with a way to raise funds to help out guys, older players that's retired and been retired for 15, 20 years now, that's unable to get the benefits. And so this foundation has found a way to raise money for those type of guys and to help them out in any kind of way they can.
Is there anywhere we're supposed to go? What should our listeners know?
So it's on portrun.com. You can go in there. It is show all the information. They have all type of things, charity things. They have events going on this week where they have a place where they're having a ceremony where they're talking about it more. They're giving away Super Bowl tickets for next year. If you subscribe for portrun.com, go on the website and click on there to sponsor and help out. They find all kind of ways just to raise money to help out a lot of retired players.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Devin. Thank you for stopping by Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me.
There he is, Devin Hester, the Hall of Famer, joining Bleck and Abdalla, and obviously we're Chicago guys. We love Devin Hester. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen in the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. That's code B&A and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in-state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
Sunday, it's Super Bowl 60. Patriots, Seahawks, with coverage starting at noon Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
As it was just said to me moments ago by Armin Williams, today is an absolute zoo here at Radio Row.
Literally.
Bleck and Abdalla. Yeah, he was making the joke because there's like animal mascots
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
dogs
say,
walking around.
I've seen a polar bear. I've seen a colt. I've seen a Seahawk, which we know is an osprey.
Yeah, well,
There's no such thing as a Seahawk.
Yeah, from a former life of ours. I
Yes.
do recall those conversations.
Yes.
It's Bleck and Abdalla live from Radio Row on Westwood One in the Westwood One Sports app. hanging out. Channel 375 on Sirius XM. Raj Sharon joins us. here on
Hello,
the show.
fellas.
Hello, Raj. Usually we have to go to Denver, Colorado, a mile
Right.
high.
Well,
But
you talk about the downgrade of the century. We got like Hall of Famers like Patrick Willis and Devin Hester here, and now you have me.
this is the best part of the show. Raj, this is
Yeah,
it.
come on.
On a Thursday. On
By the way,
Bleck
did you
and
see the
Abdalla.
raptor? You're the animals. The lady with the raptor thing on her
I
arm. It looks like
did
Jurassic
not.
Park. It's pretty
No,
cool.
I did
pretty
Oh,
cool.
really?
Yeah, she's around here somewhere. We'll see
Is
her.
the Raptor coming on with us at some point?
No.
No?
I think we said no to that.
What would
guess.
you
Said
ask
no to
it?
the-
The behind the scenes.
questions
I
did you
know.
ask
I know
her
that.
after?
I got nothing but questions for the Raptor. Are you
I
kidding
know
me?
Drake this morning was asking Abdalla. He's asked us throughout the week, like, take us behind the scenes. A part of the behind the scenes is politely suggesting that we will not do something that is being pushed on
Yeah.
various radio stations. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
There's
It
an
is-
art to it.
It is an absolute zoo here today. And honestly, anywhere you look, if you're a football fan, right now there are Hall of Famers and former players all over the place. Like right now, right off of the side of our set. So if you're watching us on YouTube, Bleck and Abdalla show on
Yeah.
YouTube. So right behind the camera, there's nothing really behind the camera except for a wall. And to the immediate right of the camera, against the wall, is DeAndre Swift.
Yes.
Bears running back.
Yes.
Talking on the phone to someone conducting an interview
Yeah.
who's not here on location. And it's like, this place is so loud. There's no way that's going to sound
No.
good. But he's like huddled in the corner
Yeah.
over here. And there are Hall of Famers and players. I know Larry Fitzgerald was just passing behind us
Steve
moments
Smith
ago.
is behind me right now.
Jameis Winston passed by.
Yep.
Just a
Warren
second
Moon, Hall
ago.
of Fame quarterback right now.
So,
right
so
over there.
there's a lot
Fred
going
Warner's over there if you want more pictures.
on. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
I'm just letting you know.
Do you want to fill the audience in on the off-air conversation with that?
It was on air, buddy.
was it?
That was on air.
All right,
Yeah. That was not an off-air
Yeah.
conversation.
I could
that
go
was on air.
snap a picture, I guess.
There's the Pepsi polar bear.
I
Look how
just said,
big that
there's
thing
polar
is.
bears. I told you.
Send it to my
Huge.
wife. All right, Raj, it's fill in the blank
It's
on a Thursday. with Bleck and
Thursday
Abdalla. Here
edition
we
of
go.
Fill in the Blank. All right, here we go, fellas. The best player on the field Sunday is blank, Abdalla.
Don't steal
Oh,
mine. I'm ready to go.
it
Locked
will
and loaded.
be-
Don't steal mine.
I'm not, I mean,
Don't do
unless
it.
you're going to take a cop out and say a quarterback, I think it's going to have to be a quarterback. I think it's going to have to either be Sam Darnold or Drake May, and I think the Seahawks are going to win, so I think it's going to be Sam Darnold.
Slinging Sammy.
I think it's going to be Slingin' Sammy. I think it's going to be him, and obviously it could end up being Jackson Smith and Jigba, but ultimately that would mean like MVP would still go to Sam Darnold because they're like, oh well, someone has to get him the football, and we're not going to give an MVP to a wide receiver. So I still think it's going to be Sam Darnold is going to be the best player on the field.
Jackson Smith and Jigba is my answer.
Yeah,
Final
there you
answer, lock it in. He's going to be the best player on the field, and we will have that conversation. Who should get the MVP? Is it the wide receiver or the quarterback that serviced the wide receiver to have that great game? So Jackson Smith and Jigba is the one.
Can I give you guys a sleeper on my side? I have.
by all means. Mine.
For the first time since my guy, Terrell Davis, back in 1998, a running back as Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker.
All right.
Just a little
interesting.
nugget there. All right,
All right.
next up on Fill in the Blank, we got Sam Darnold will commit blank turnovers than Drake May on Sunday. Bleck?
Sam Darnold will commit less turnovers than Drake May on Sunday.
Drake May does have a fumbling issue. I've heard about it before.
I've listened to a radio show, noon to 3 Eastern on Westwood One Sports, that keeps reminding me of that. Thank you.
I like
Abdalla.
that show.
I like it too because I like that there's a bunch of former players that keep saying it too this week. It's not just me.
Let's not get it twisted here on Radio Row. We're mid at best. We are lucky to be here in this setting, warming up the seat for Jim Rome to take over the set here on the TV set at 3 Eastern. I'm going to say less, and I'm not going to attach a number to it, but I do think Sam outplays Drake May on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll also say less. I mean, the Seahawks are going to get to him, and I think he's still going to take a few sacks. Whether those turn into turnovers or not, I still think it's going to be less. So I'm going to agree with Chris. That doesn't create great debate, but I'm going to say less.
By the way, an acceptable answer was the same, but I appreciate neither of you guys for riding the fence. Good job. All right, next up, we're going to lead with a blank. Blank will be an X factor in Sunday's game. Abdalla? Blank will be an X factor. So many directions you can go here.
Will be an X factor. Let's see.
All right, I got my answer.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Cooper Kupp.
Cooper
Okay,
Kupp will be a
Cooper
Super Bowl
Kupp.
MVP.
Because along the lines of the conversation of Jackson Smith and Jigba being the guy who will be the best player on the field,
Yeah.
I think Sam will use Cooper Kupp as an outlet, like a second guy that was a little bit forgotten about. So I'm gonna go Cooper Kupp. I'm gonna stick with the wide receivers.
Yeah, I like that answer. I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker. I think that they're gonna rely on him a lot in different ways too. I think he can catch as well, so I think they're gonna use him. I think he's gonna be an X factor too because without Charbonnet, like he's gonna have to do
That's true.
a lot more.
That's true.
Especially like he did in the NFC Championship game. So he's gonna be my X factor.
I like it. Also, an acceptable answer could have been something like halftime show length.
Yeah,
All right.
that's kind of what I was thinking, but I was like, well, it can't be the weather because it's not supposed to rain. So like we're not gonna have a quote weather game.
I think there's going to be
So-
rain late in the evening, but the game should be over
The
by
game,
that
yeah,
point.
the game should be over, so it's not going to affect anything. So, yeah.
All right, guys. And finally, on this Super Bowl Radio Row edition of Fill in the Blank, on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
the player or coach that we'll be talking about after Sunday's game is blank. Abdalla.
Oh, it's Sam Darnold. It's still going to be Sam Darnold because I think that we all know Mike McDonald's a good coach, and if what we think is going to happen and the Seahawks win, no one's going to say that like Mike Vrabel is a bad coach after this because we all believe that the Patriots are here a year early and that this is just happening because of the Bills not being here and because of the Chiefs not being here, and that like the Patriots aren't going anywhere and Drake May is still going to continue to get better and better. But I think that if the Seahawks win, the player we're going to be talking about is Sam Darnold becoming a top X quarterback, a top 12, top 10, whatever it is. We're going to be debating in the offseason, has Sam Darnold become elite? Has he become whatever moniker you want to put on Sam Darnold? That's going to be the conversation in the offseason. Obviously he just got a GM fired in Minnesota. Like what else? What are the other ramifications of this Sam Darnold thing happening?
Give me Devon Witherspoon.
Ooh.
Defensive back for the Seahawks. He's going to be the one that picks off Drake May. Maybe a fumble recovery since Abdalla is obsessed with the stat with Drake May and the fumbles. So maybe you see him get in there after the ball is stripped. Well, I'm giving you something
That's
different.
what we're going to be talking about on Monday.
Yes,
We're gonna be
because
coming back on
no.
Welcome into Bleck and Abdalla on a Super Bowl Monday. How
Yes.
about Witherspoon?
Yeah, he went to Illinois.
Yeah, I know.
Let's
I
give
know,
a
I
little
know.
good defensive back because he's going to eat because of Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence in the front for the Seahawks. So I'm giving you a corner.
All
from
right,
the
and
Seahawks.
I'll give you one, guys, one, and I'll say Vrabel. I'm going to go ahead and say Vrabel. I feel like we're due a Super Bowl game that we're questioning a coaching decision late. In the same way that everyone's questioning Sean Payton for not kicking the field goal in the AFC Championship. I feel like we're due a game where there's going to be a late challenge or lack thereof or something like that that's going to come up, and I'm going to go with Vrabel.
The Raptor lady just walked.
I told
behind
you
the
it's
set.
real.
There it is.
I
Yeah,
told
I
you.
see it.
She
I
just
see
walked
it.
behind the set.
I see it.
Here she's.
Look at that.
Well, I don't think you can't see it on camera, but when she walked by.
Are you humming?
Why? Okay.
Jurassic Park theme?
Yes. yes,
Raj, it's my favorite
It's his
movie of
favorite
all
movie.
time.
Is it your favorite movie of all
It's my
time?
favorite
Jurassic
movie
Park?
of all time.
That's a good one to have.
That's why
though.
I said we'll have endless questions for her. Bless you. Endless questions for her about.
Was that on Mike?
If she has I'm sure it was.
Thank you.
If she has like a dinosaur, if she has dinosaur knowledge. I
Okay,
have
thoughts
endless
on the
questions.
Jurassic Park sequels?
Okay,
From
so,
2
they're
to
not
3 to
great.
the World franchise.
Okay, so Lost
They're not
World
great.
was fine. I don't mind 2 and 3. Once we started stepping into new worlds and we added the Pratts and we added the ScarJos,
What's wrong with Pratt?
not for it's fine.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I'm with you, though.
also-
As a Bloodsport fan,
They're
the
also-
sequels.
They're also kids movies, so like whatever.
Let me ask you a question. Why on the so it's here's what it is. The Raptor, it's like a mini dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it's a puppet, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes,
And
it
she
is.
has her arm inserted.
Yep.
From
Where do you think puppets go?
the back
Yeah,
side.
where do you think
And
puppets-
she's walking around. Why does she have on her arm where the puppet's located? Okay, have you guys ever seen, I'm sure Seahawks fans know this.
Yeah.
You know the like glove, the arm wrap that you
Yeah,
wear for
yeah.
a bald eagle
To
or a
land?
hawk to land on your arm? Why is she wearing that when the Raptor's a puppet? I don't understand
to
this.
create some form of illusion when if it's like she has to be on camera.
But okay, everyone listening to the show, would it not make more sense for the raptor, the little dinosaur, to be standing on the arm and not have her arm up the back?
The raptor's not going to balance on her arm like that.
But do you see the coordination with the safety mechanism for her arm,
yes.
and it would be on
Yes.
that and not having your hand.
I think the fact that
behind?
there's a raptor in our presence is mind-blowing
It's not
enough.
real.
The fact that we're debating how the raptor is placed on her arm
It's not real at all.
is what
Did you see
is-
Roger
is-
Goodell just walk by?
That's not Roger Goodell. Commissioner, why haven't we set up the dunk tank yet?
It's not Roger Goodell. I was told that guy works for CNN.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. All right, Raj, any more fill in the blanks? Come on.
We pounded through. You want some ad lib fill in the blanks? Because I'm
why
always
not?
happy to do
Let's
it. Okay,
do it. I mean,
next one. Okay,
we have nothing. This is the key. I love this.
We're
This is the
stretching
best.
now.
No.
We're not stretching.
No.
We're not. We don't stretch.
No. I like this better. This is more fun.
Yeah.
I like the fact that this is how we're spending our time at Radio Row.
Yeah.
Bleck and Abdalla
So do I.
here on Westwood One Sports.
Who's-
We'll have
okay,
more Hall of Famers.
Okay,
coming up.
I've got a fill in the blank for
Can I
it.
explain that there's a gigantic scrum? Everyone's got
Yeah.
their phone out.
And the
Everyone's
lights,
got
there's
the
TV
lights
lights
out.
over
There's
there.
someone's going. I think it's Jameis. If I had to guess, it's Jameis that's over there.
Roger.
let me give you a fill in the blank, and then I will go investigate.
Yeah, because just
okay.
go look.
Here's
We
the
just
fill in the
want-
blank.
we just want
What
visual
is
evidence.
what is going to be the best non-football element we
Okay.
talk about after the Super Bowl? It is the bet. I'll give you two in fill in the blank form. The best non-football element we will
Yeah.
talk about after Super Bowl Sunday is blank.
Okay. All right. We're in fill in the blank,
Okay.
and Roger's just going to look. Just
Raj
tell
is
us
gonna
who
go.
it is.
If you want to take out your camera soon, Fred Warner's walking by again.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that he's walking by. If you wanted to get a picture or two.
Just to get another photo.
I'm just letting you know he's about to walk. Yeah, there you go for those watching on YouTube.
I got it.
YouTube.com/Bleck and Abdalla Show.
I'll send it off right now.
So I know you hate the commercials because the commercials have just turned into how many celebrities
Roger's
can
back.
we
Who is
get
it?
into? Was it
Do
Jameis?
you guys want to finish your thought, or you
Was
want to
it
know?
No,
Was it
wait.
Jameis?
It's a presentation
Oh,
going on, but it does include a former player
Okay.
who I believe, and I apologize for not having the specific, is going to be a part of the pregame show on Westwood One coming up this weekend.
Oh, okay.
He's a former Seattle Seahawk. We're going to play trivia.
Okay.
He's a quarterback.
Hasselback?
It's Matt Hasselbeck.
Oh, okay.
Matt
All
Hasselbeck
right.
is.
All right.
I think it
Cool.
might be like a fan of the year kind of
Oh,
situation.
okay.
or
All right,
something like
sweet.
that. Okay,
So-
so Abdalla was talking about how awesome the commercials are going to be.
No,
on
I
Sunday.
said it's not going to be the commercials because I know Chris hates commercials because they've
They all
just turned
suck
into
now.
how many. They're not
They used to
creative
be
anymore.
good.
They're just how many
How many
celebrities.
cameos can you pack in?
Yeah, I think it is going to be the Tim Robinson commercial though.
What is that? I haven't seen anything.
I don't
for it.
know. I know he's doing one, and I like Tim Robinson.
Like he's sponsoring it?
No, he's in one.
Okay.
Like he's in
He's
one.
acting in one.
He's acting in one, and he's the I think you should leave guy. He's like he's very funny. He's in the Chair Company on HBO. If you've seen that, he's in one, and he's always very funny. So I think that will be my favorite one. But the halftime show is usually good. I like the halftime show. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bad Bunny's gonna do a great job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what on Monday people are gonna talk about, like what that is, the show that he puts on. I think people are gonna talk about that. So that would be my fill in the blank. The halftime show with Bad Bunny. Who your guy is singing the anthem, right? Or he's singing "God Bless America" or one of
Who's
the
my
songs. The singer we were talking about. He has
Charlie Puth?
Yeah, Charlie Puth.
He's singing the national anthem.
He's a Puther.
Yeah.
I'm not a Puther.
Yeah. He's by the way, is Charlie Puth here somewhere? He's got to be
They
here.
usually do the press conference somewhere around here.
I would love to see Abdalla talking to Charlie Puth about soup.
Excuse me, Puth.
I've got
He got a Booth.
I've
not
got,
Charlie.
Hey Puth, you want to talk some soup?
I got a soup question for you. Favorite soup and why?
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Raj, thank you for filling the
Thank
blank.
you, fellas.
A live edition, a scattered edition,
Including some ad lib.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like hopefully we are giving the correct, setting the scene here at Radio Row of the chaos and the zoo that is taking place here on a Thursday before the Super Bowl, because this place is just nuts today.
Well, we're also in one of the more chaotic areas because we're right by the entrance.
Yes, we are.
So,
you can't walk in here without walking past our set.
Yeah, so if people, and that's where people are leaving and entering the Radio Row, which means as soon as you enter, if people want to hound you to try to get you on their show, that's where they're stopping you.
It's all happening right here.
Or they're stopping you as you're trying to leave, which means both stopping things are happening at the same time.
And there's a lot of people.
And there's a lot of that going on.
Is that it's a Seahawk mascot?
Yeah, that's the Seahawk mascot.
Who is talking next to him? Who's that? Is that like a religious member? Like a father?
It's a monk.
Oh, a monk?
Oh, but monks don't talk, I thought.
But he's like in uniform.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly he's not really.
Yeah.
He's not really.
I don't know. He might be.
No, he's doing a bit.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because he's got a guy walking around
Yeah,
filming
and he's got like a mic flag, too, of something.
All right, it's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. We are expected to talk to Victor Cruz coming up, so we will continue to preview the Super Bowl, the Seahawks and the Patriots. Bleck and Abdalla live from Radio Row right here in San Francisco on Westwood One Sports.
This Sunday, 11 years in the making, the Super Bowl 49 rematch.
It's intercepted at the goal line. It's intercepted by Malcolm Butler.
Will Seattle make the most of their second shot? Seahawks, Patriots, Super Bowl 60 at 5:30 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Live from Radio Row, hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM Channel 375, noon to 3 Eastern. Jim Rome takes over at 3 Eastern. It's Bleck and Abdalla hanging out with you for the next couple hours. Coming up next hour, we will talk to Brian Urlacher, Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer. We have a lot to do here from Radio Row, previewing the Super Bowl. We're expected to talk to Victor Cruz in just moments as we preview the game and also keep our eyes on what's going on around the NBA. The trade deadline is coming up at 3 Eastern, so that will take place as we hand things off to Jim Rome here on Westwood One Sports. The news so far today from the NBA is that the Milwaukee Bucks are telling people now that they will not trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. So that's out there. They tried to. It seemed like it fell apart the moment that Golden State went in the direction of trading Kuminga to the Atlanta Hawks after making the push to try and send Kuminga and first-round picks to Milwaukee for Giannis. So that is the latest from what we've seen here on Radio Row as we continue to preview the Super Bowl. And it's interesting. I thought coming into this week we would only talk football, but the NBA, I don't know if it was done intentionally, but they have done a good job of the moment we leave these walls in talking to all the football players. The only thing people are talking about is the NBA trade deadline. It's kind of working out well for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, well, if a big star is moved like that, I know that Harden was moved, but when is Harden not moved? You know, like that
That's
just
fair.
happens all the time.
That's nothing new.
That's nothing new. I think that if this were to truly take place, if Giannis would have been moved, that would have been a stunner. You know, like obviously you see now that the fruits of the Luka Doncic trade are done, and like that's been a complete bust for the Mavericks, and they completely lost that trade now, and so that's done with. I just think that you can say that, yeah, okay, maybe the NBA did this, whether it's intentionally or not. All-Star game next weekend, that could be a thing, but do people really care about that? Or, I mean, obviously the NBA does it on purpose. They don't want it to go up against a Super Bowl or anything like that, but yeah.
But this week nothing is actually happening, and so to have the trade deadline take place today, 3 Eastern, in a week where there's not really, like, it's a football week, but I think for some who maybe they don't want to consume all of the pre-stuff, the pre-build-up hype of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To some, it's refreshing to have something else to talk about because we've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Super Bowl this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that with the few moves that were made,
and there's not actually a game throughout the week. The game is on Sunday.
Yeah, I do think that it's because the moves were somewhat big. It did dominate the headlines, but I still think football's king. And yeah, you can have your headlines for a couple days, but then when we get down to it, it's still an NFL world, and the NFL is still dominating.
No doubt. But you are the one to say earlier around the holidays, oh, the NFL stole Christmas like the Grinch from the NBA.
They absolutely did.
So that's a direct quote. That's
did.
something that you've said.
It is. I did, and I think the NBA should put their stuff on Christmas Eve. They absolutely should.
I don't think it matters.
It absolutely matters.
And I think that's why, we can still talk about it, but I don't think it really matters when it comes down to it. I think there's enough for us to all consume all of this sports. And I think having the NBA trade deadline be today, I think it's been nice to kind of look at that and try and figure out what teams are going to make moves, who's going to get moved, and all of that kind of goes into that.
Yeah, and I think it's good for the NBA to kind of have it during this week, like you said, when nothing else is going on.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, hanging out with Victor Cruz, who's now put on the headset. What's up, Victor? How are you?
What's up, guys? It's always like I'm in a different world. When I put these headsets on, I'm like, am I even at Radio Row right now?
Right. It's funny because all you hear is what's going on up here, but yet it's chaos around us.
It's pretty maniacal in here. I'm not going to lie. People are buzzing. Things are happening. There's mascots behind us. It's popping.
Nuts.
We were talking about, we've seen dogs walking by
exactly.
and all kinds
I heard that's been, the big deal. I haven't seen this many dogs at a Radio Row ever. I think ever.
Yeah, it's wild. Okay, so the game this Sunday.
Yep.
What do you think heading into it? The major storyline that you're focused on as we head towards Sunday, Seahawks, Patriots. What do you have your eye on?
I think the biggest thing I got my eye on is Sam Darnold. I think he's obviously proven up until this point that he can handle the big game, but this is the biggest game, right? Can he continue to put the ball where it needs to be, to hit his playmakers, to command that offense like he's been doing all year long, and really bring it to the forefront because he's going to need to. I mean, it's just one of those games where quarterback play is going to be important, and we'll see if he can bring it home. Last time we saw him in a major game in Minnesota, he didn't look great. So we want to make sure that he goes out there and puts his best foot forward. So that's kind of what I'm looking at mostly.
What do you think when you watch a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Oh, my God. I mean, he's unguardable, and I love it. I love to see the smaller receivers with quick feet that are fast, that can get in and out of those breaks, be unguardable, because I felt like that's what I was when I was playing the game. And it's good to see him dominate the league like this, the way he's doing.
Okay, so take us inside. Adam and I didn't play at any.
Sure? You guys look like, I don't know.
Please, you should have seen us standing next to some of the linemen that we've talked to throughout
James
the week.
James Harrison was here earlier, and I was just like, I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison.
It's like two of y'all, right?
I know,
I think if you had a third, we wouldn't even be what James Harrison is.
Exactly.
So take us inside when you're training and the prep in the off season. How do you get to the point? I think some could say, well, it's God-given talent for Jackson Smith and Jigba, but you were there, you trained, you were at that level. How do you train to become that as a wide receiver in the National Football League?
Well, I think you're right. I think part of it is some God-given ability, but I think the other part of it is to continue to nurture that and continue to advance that, right? He's not just satisfied running a slant route as quick as he could or running a post corner to the best of his ability. He wants to know the nuances of the footwork. So in the offseason, I always want to get different tricks of the trade on releases, different footwork things at the top of my routes. I used to call Chad Ochocinco and just pick his brain on different things he wanted to do when he ran an in cut or when a guy was on his inside leverage and he had to go in and that was just the route concept. What did you do? How did you get that guy to believe you were maybe going vertical or going the opposite way and then break across his face? Did you slow down? Did you pat your feet? So it's all the nuances of the game now that he has to master so that he can remain unguardable, because now he's on film. Guys watch his tendencies. They know what he likes or doesn't like to do. They know when he's inside or outside. He's pretty unguardable in the sense of schematically. It's hard to scheme for him because he can line up pretty much anywhere. But now as a corner individually, if you're one of those guys that likes to match up with their best receiver, you're going to be matched up on him. They're going to watch his tendencies. So it's important for him to understand how to, stay on the cutting edge of what he wants to do and not let them get a beat on him.
When you were at the line of scrimmage, what were you looking at?
I was always looking in to see my quarterback, see what snap count or things that were happening, but I was always periffing his feet. Was he on his heels? Was he ready for me to jump back? Was he off man? Was he press man? Was he inside leverage? I always wanted to see how he was going to play me that particular game, so I knew how to counter.
Okay, I asked this because there was a story in Chicago, a rookie wide receiver. There was a tell that was out there that when his mouth guard was not in, they knew that it was not going to be a running play. Right? They knew, and so. And I love seeing the NFL film stuff of the old Hall of Famers or Jerry Rice talking about how he had everything in his uniform perfectly situated every play, and he had everything because he didn't want to give a tell away to the defense. Do you think young players today think about that stuff? Or is that more of an older school, I'm trying to get an edge at every angle? Is there something that you thought of when you were playing?
I definitely thought of that when I was playing. I think younger players should absolutely think like this. Any advantage that you get, I used to run guys off like it was a go route on a run play. So if I was one-on-one on the backside, I was treating that like a route. So the guy had to play me as if I was getting the ball, and then it was a run play away, and he'd be like, damn, why'd you do all of that?
Yeah, at least you're making him run more.
And then the time where I do run a route, he doesn't know whether it, and then I'm gone. And then I'm either getting a big play, a catch, or a touchdown. So you always want to keep your defender on his toes and not knowing what the heck is going on and keep him disheveled at all times so that you have the advantage.
Some guys, it can take years to develop the kind of chemistry we've seen with Darnold and JSN. It's taken 1 year. How can some guys defer and take 2 years, and some guys can take 3 years, and some guys it can take one off season to be great together?
Well, I think it's those guys clearly spend a lot of time together. Like, they spend a lot of time talking about the game, practicing route running, throwing the ball, probably met in the off season somehow and had some conversations about how they wanted to run, their drills and how they do their thing. So I think it starts with the leadership of Sam Darnold. I think for me, right, Eli Manning brought me in early. We were in a lockout year, and he brought me in that offseason beforehand, and we were throwing balls in the middle of Hoboken, New Jersey. So, like, that, but that really let me know how he liked the ball to be thrown, how he liked the route running to be, where he wanted me to be on certain things. And at the time, I wasn't even a starter yet. But once I became that starter that year, it just helped. We just flowed because I already knew the nuances of how he liked to operate and how he liked to throw the football around. So it was a good deal. So I think the leadership, it starts with the quarterback. I think Sam Darnold, coming from San Fran, coming from Shanahan's offense, understanding what it's like and what it looks like to be a successful quarterback, I think that helped him get JSN on the right track early.
We only have 2 minutes left in this segment, so I want to make sure we get this in. You're here on behalf of Discover Puerto Rico. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Discover Puerto Rico, encouraging everybody to go to Puerto Rico. It is a cultural phenomenon. I love it there. I'm half Puerto Rican myself. I still have family there. I go visit them each and every year. Between the food, the dancing, the energy, the salsa, of course, it's just a place that is unlike anything else, and I think you're going to get a taste of that on halftime on Sunday with Bad Bunny when he goes out there and performs. And then my friend Isaiah Pacheco's hosting the Plena Game Report, a watch party alongside some actors of Puerto Rican descent, Amaury Nolasco, a football analyst, Felipe Martinez, and Grammy-nominated Plena Libre on Complex's YouTube account. So make sure you guys go out there and check that out. It should be a fun watch.
Victor, before we let you go, who do you have winning the game this weekend?
I got Seattle by a lot. Do you think I'm going to root for anything New England? No chance. I got Seattle by 100.
There are very few players that have actually
a lot of
gone
players
in and just said, you know what, I don't like New England. I'm not going to do this. You're one of the few. I appreciate that.
We had some Ravens over here, and they were like, no, we don't want anything to do with the Patriots.
I appreciate that.
The stuff in the news with the Colts and whether or not they're voting for the Hall of Fame for Belichick and all that, that's out there. We love the rivalry. Thank you for stopping by. This was fantastic. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. Have fun the rest of the week.
Victor Cruz, Discover Puerto Rico. Make sure you check it out. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Coming up next hour, we continue our fantastic show here live from Radio Row. Brian Urlacher, the Hall of Famer, will join us. Kurt Warner, the Hall of Famer, will join us. We will get a lot more breakdown as we talk football and we get set for Super Bowl 60 live from San Francisco. It's Bleck and Abdalla right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM channel 375. You can call us at 310-840-4910. Still take your phone calls. Noon to 3 Eastern. It's Bleck and Abdalla right here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Live from San Francisco, the site of Super Bowl 60, Westwood One Sports presents Bleck and Abdalla.
Welcome back to Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. It's Bleck and Abdalla live from Radio Row here in San Francisco, getting set for the Super Bowl. Chicago Bears Hall of Famer now joins Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Brian Urlacher, welcome to the show. What's up, Brian?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's always good to be at another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited for the game. We've talked to a lot of players this week, and I think one of the major themes is it seems like defense is a focal point for everyone. As a former linebacker Hall of Famer, doesn't it kind of feel cool to have, like, defense be at the forefront of the conversation this year?
I feel like everyone's – I mean, the last, 5 years has gone the offensive way. You know, you talk about the Chiefs being so good. Buffalo's been good for a while. But defense – I mean, Seattle's defense is unbelievable. I mean, Vrabel in New England with their defense as well. They're great, but it is you hear most people talking about how good the defenses are. I wouldn't short Drake May either. I feel like he's a pretty good quarterback as well. And Sam's played great this year as well. Though I was the only quarterback in history to win 14 games with 2 different teams in back-to-back years. Unbelievable.
And not just the defenses are good, but the coaches. I mean, obviously you played for Lovie Smith, but now that we've got some of these offensive guys out, we've got defensive coaches in. I mean, not out, but you know what I mean. Defensive coaches in the Super Bowl for like the first time in like 7 years. We've got 2 defensive-minded head coaches coaching in the Super Bowl.
I don't pay attention to that stuff. I mean, Vrabel, what a turnaround they made in New England, man. Vrabel comes in, they're 5-12 last year, 6-11, and then they go, 13 and 14 and 3, whatever they were this year. It's unreal. The difference a head coach can make. Because I don't know how big a difference the players were on the team. I know Drake was there last year, but your rookie year's tough. You look at what the Bears, Caleb in his second year did pretty well as well. But it's be fun game to watch.
To kind of give a little to our Chicago audience.
Yes.
Your thoughts on Caleb? I mean, we
man.
thought that the run in the playoffs was it was unexpected at this point. Like we thought there would be an uptick with Ben Johnson there, but this season was awesome to watch.
It went beyond all my expectations. I didn't know what to expect coming into the year. Their division's tough. They got the teams in their division. Minnesota was down a little bit this year, but they performed far beyond everything I thought they would. Their defense took the ball away. Didn't yardage wise, which I could give a crap about. They give up a lot of yards, but those don't matter. Takeaways and points matter. They did a great job, and Caleb, can't say enough about him. Ben, you can see a difference right away that Ben made. I just like the way he coaches these guys. Like, he doesn't put up with anything. I feel like he's just stern with them. This is the way it's going to be. That's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play, and that's what's going to happen.
How would you defend a player like Caleb Williams?
Oh, man. He's so damn athletic. Like, he throws the ball great. Obviously, he can make all the throws. We saw that during the season. But when things break down is when he's at his best, I feel like. And that's what Ben said after the season. He goes, I can call some 10 crappy plays a game, but he makes some 10 good plays because of what he does when the play breaks down. So, I mean, you got to try and keep him in the pocket. I just think, and then when he runs, though, he's so damn fast. And the what I like about him as a fan and as a player is he doesn't take the big hits. He gets down, he slides, still learn how to slide. You can see some of the awkward slides sometimes, like most quarterbacks do. But he gets down when he has to, doesn't take the big hits.
And you went back to a game this year, right? What was it like going back, the atmosphere there? It was different towards the end of the season.
You were there in the playoffs, right?
So I don't remember – I mean, when I played. I didn't really pay attention to stuff going on, but I don't remember ever being the way that it was when I was there. I was there for the Green Bay game, the playoff game, but I also watched the first Green Bay game at Soldier Field on TV, and I was like, holy, I've never seen – I can't remember it being like that with them waving the towels and how loud it was. And then when I go in person for the first playoff game, unreal. The fans got it this year. Give them something to cheer for, and they will come out.
During that Green Bay game, I know it made national news that the stadium was shaking in the fourth quarter when – it was true. I was in the stands. And I attended many of your games at Soldier Field, and I agree with you. I don't ever recall the fan base getting into it the way that they are right now.
They understand. Our fans know when to cheer. They know when to be quiet. When our offense was working, they were quiet. When the defense was out there, they were loud. But this season, I feel like they really chipped in. But it's nice that I know I've noticed more this year. At the games, they're trying to get them involved more. They're doing more things to get them involved. And Ben's talking about it during the week. It's a good thing because they make them feel like they're part of the team.
Okay, one last Bears question about the team this year.
Yep.
We were talking on the show the last couple of weeks. There's not enough rivalries in sports. Yeah. What do you think of the way Ben Johnson has handled the Green Bay Packers?
I love it. I think it's amazing because it gets the fire. You can only do that when you win, by the way. If you don't win, it doesn't matter. And they've been kicking our asses for, 10 years?
Yeah.
So it's nice to finally see so he put Lovey put a big emphasis on it when we were there, but we beat them a few times, so it helped. And then the last 10 years, it's just been so one-sided. It's not really a rivalry because they've been beating the crap out of us. So for him to handle it that way, I thought it was great. Their fans got all butthurt. They were not happy with the way it went after the game when he patted him on, or when he shook his hand and ran off, and then he fell on his back. Hey man, win. You don't have to worry about it. They have this chant. Bears still suck. I've heard that for 15 years. They didn't say it this year. That's for sure. The last 2 games they didn't say it.
Yeah.
What was this week like for you when you guys played? Leading up, just like all the media night, all that kind of stuff, everything leading up to the game.
It's media every day.
Yeah.
So during the season, you get, I think, 1 or 2 days you might talk to the media. For me, it was, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then if someone wanted to request on Friday, we'd have to talk to them. But during the Super Bowl week, it's every damn day, and you're not used to that. So it's a lot more, I guess, pressure to talk to the media because you have an hour a day set aside for that. But I tried to approach it as a regular game. I wish I had done it differently now because I wish I'd had more fun, especially since we lost. I didn't do anything during the week. I literally did nothing during the week. I just stuck to my normal schedule. But you can feel the pressure. You can feel how big the game is just from the media.
Yesterday, we were talking to Todd Heap and Dennis Pitta.
I love Todd Heap.
And we asked, like, before a big game, AFC Championship game or Super Bowl situation, did you mentally handle it right? Do you feel like you handled it right? And then could you see others in the locker room where you're like, man, he's shook heading into this game or something like that?
We were prepared. There's never a time I wasn't prepared to play in my career. Our coaches did a great job of getting us, no matter what the situation was, Super Bowl, regular season, preseason, we're always prepared. Well, preseason, whatever, you can knock those aside. But during the playoffs, we were always prepared to play. And I don't think anyone on our team was not prepared or not, the moment wasn't too big. We were always prepared to play. So that was never an issue. Just sometimes you don't perform when you get out there.
Did Lovey give you guys like a special pregame speech or anything? Because we've heard the other side. We've heard the story over and over again how Tony Dungy the night before was like, we're not going to kick to Hester. We're going to actually talk to Devin Hester a little bit later. Hester's walking around here. So
they kicked him.
And they did. Well, and it started that way. Did Lovey do something like that for you guys?
I don't remember, honestly. I don't remember what our speech was. I'm sure. Well, so Coach Smith talked to the whole team, and then we break up and go offense and defense, and then Coach Marinelli would talk to us, and he usually showed some crazy videos. But Ron Rivera was our DC back then, so I'm going way far back now. So Marinelli wasn't even there, but Ron, I'm sure, gave us a great speech. He always did a good job of motivating us. But the problem with kicking to Hester is that your players want to kick to him. They want to cover the kick. Oh, we can tackle him. We can get him wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You kick to him and then out the gate. What a great start.
Yeah, it was a great start. All right, Brian, you're walking around here at the Media Center on behalf of HeartFlow. Tell us about that.
So HeartFlow is it's a company, but I partnered with them. But did you guys know that 1 in 3 ex-NFL players die from heart disease?
No.
I didn't know that either. So when I found out, I was like, oh, I'm an ex, so it could happen to me too. That's a big number. So they do this. You get a CT scan of your heart, and the heart flow mechanism will take it over and see if you have plaque buildup in your heart. So the CT scan might not find any plaque. In my exam, there was no. I was like the purest heart ever. A perfect heart. The guy was like, wow, you have an amazing heart. Anyway, it wasn't that good. But then they did the heart flow exam, and I had some plaque buildup in there. So what you do, it's not a big deal, but you talk to your doctor, maybe change my diet or something. But if you don't do some early detection, you're not going to know about it.
Absolutely.
So, it's a great thing. So it's heartflow.com/big game. That's where you go to if you want to find information about if you have symptoms or anything like that. Go to there. They can tell you some of the symptoms you might have, shortness of breath. There's a bunch of other ones, but go there and find out what if you may be having some of those symptoms.
So go to HeartFlow. Go to heartflow.com/big game to find out more information.
It's
Brian,
just slash, not backslash?
Yeah.
I've been saying backsplash. Was it just slash?
Backsplash.
I think you can say it.
Backsplash or backslash? What is it?
I think people get it.
I think it's like taking off the www.
Yeah,
you don't need the www anymore. You don't have to say backslash
like when
anymore.
I put in www still. I want to make sure I get it
You
exactly
can,
right.
yeah.
I like the details.
Yeah,
that's
works.
good.
I'm not very tech savvy, so I need to do it. So is it slash or backsplash for future reference?
I think it's a slash, right?
Let's do slash then.
Right?
Tell
It's
me.
a slash. It's
Slash?
a slash.
I'm
yeah.
saying backsplash.
But the backsplash is for what? A kitchen?
Kitchens, showers. Yeah, I'm going to
it's
use
all
that.
good. It's
There you
something. Thank you, Brian. We
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Appreciate
Appreciate it, man.
There is Brian Urlacher, Chicago Bears Hall of Famer, joined Bleck and Abdalla a little bit earlier today, and we're hanging out here on Radio Row. Bleck and Abdalla with you on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. I mean, maybe he's got a kitchen remodel on top of
Next
the
year's
brain.
Super Bowl, he's got a new sponsor that
Yeah,
he can.
yeah, he's going around from kitchens.
He'd be like, guys, you remember me last year? Well, this year I'm with Backsplashes.
It's Bleck and Abdalla. We're expected to talk with Kurt Warner coming up next here on Westwood One Sports. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And when anything can happen in the Super Bowl, DraftKings has your back with early exit.
If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. If you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. That's code B and A and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states and present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until February 8th, 2026.
New England looks to win a record-breaking 7th Lombardi, but Seattle's #1 defense stands in the way. Patriots, Seahawks, Super Bowl 60, Sunday, 5:30 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Live from Radio Row in San Francisco, ahead of Super Bowl 60, hanging out with you on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, our teammate here at Westwood One Sports, and also on the NFL Network, now joins us here on Radio Row. What's up, Kurt? How are you?
What's going on? I'm doing great. Just getting into the swing of things here, but excited about the week.
We can't wait for the game broadcast. You and Kevin Harlan on Westwood One Sports this Sunday, and also on Sunday, you have an 8.5-hour special edition of NFL Game Day morning leading into the Super Bowl coverage. It's a busy weekend.
It is a busy weekend, and it's crazy that we go for 8.5 hours. But, I mean, that's what the Super Bowl's become, right? When people wake up in the morning, they want to talk Super Bowl. They want to hear about the Super Bowl. They want to get ready for the Super Bowl while they're getting all their food prepared. So it's crazy when you say that, 8.5 hours and then the game. But you know, people tune in and they love it, and you guys see it. The spectacle is what it is.
It's been great so far. Let's talk about these quarterbacks. You've got Sam Darnold. He's been on a bunch of teams. He's completely revitalized his career. Spent time with the 49ers, the Vikings, and now the Seahawks. Tell us about what you've seen from Sam Darnold from where he was to where he is right now.
I mean, it's such an interesting thing because I think the normal thing for everybody to do is just go, oh, well, he was drafted by the Jets, and the Jets were terrible, and now he's really good. I think when you watch Sam play early in his career that he had room to grow. He had to get better. He didn't play very well in those early stages, and he's embraced that part of it, whether that was, going to Carolina, whether that was being a backup in San Francisco, but he embraced the journey and how he could get better and learning from the different people that he's been around. And then, he goes to Minnesota, has a great year, and then finds, I think, a perfect fit in Seattle for what they want to do or what they've done this year. Fits perfectly with what his skill set is. So it's been fun to watch, and I love that storyline of this Super Bowl. You've got the golden boy in Drake May in his second year, an MVP-type season. He's in the Super Bowl like, oh, my gosh, this is how it's supposed to be. And then you have Sam Darnold that, number 3 overall pick too, and you thought he was out of the league, and now he finds his way back with a different kind of journey. And so you've got two guys that have two completely different journeys but find themselves at the precipice of the mountaintop with a chance to win a championship. And I think it speaks to our league is that there's not just one way to do it. Maybe have a little bit of patience, and it may take some guys a little bit longer to come into their own and become the player that they can be.
Kurt Warner joining Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. What was something when you were a young player that clicked in your head that you were able to say, okay, this is how this should be done? Because I feel like that's what's taken place with Sam in the last couple of seasons is that something has clicked. And I know we could talk about that Jets situation like you were just mentioning, but was there something that you saw early on that you were like, okay, if I start doing it this way, maybe I can have success?
I mean, the hard thing for me is like, I felt like I was that guy once I got back into the NFL. But I just hadn't played a lot of football. I think that's another thing is that, you need to experience different things. You need to see different things. You need to understand how to handle different situations. And I was never the 3rd overall pick. I was never the guy that was asked to save a franchise. And so I'm sure part of, what Sam went through is feeling that pressure of having to turn around and save an organization. And so when you go out and play, I can only imagine how different it must be. Like, I got to make every throw. I got to win every game, even though we might not be very good. Man, and so early on you would watch and you'd be like, okay, that was a great throw. That was an awful throw. Like, what are you doing? And I just wonder how much of that was simply just the pressure of being in New York and being the number 3 overall pick and trying to prove to everybody, it was the right decision. And so you press the issue and play outside of yourself. And for me, I just needed more time and experience and needed to face a lot of different situations. So when I got there, I understood some of those pieces.
What do you think of Sam's background where, because I know you talk a lot with younger quarterbacks, prep for the draft and all of that. I believe Sam Darnold played multiple sports, and he wasn't one of those quarterback camp guys coming up. Do you see a difference in the guys that like they're only playing quarterback, the 7-on-7 stuff early, and then someone like Sam Darnold where now years into his career he's starting to flourish where it's a little different?
I don't know so much about that. I mean, I'm a firm believer that you play different sports because the different sports teach you different things, and just because you specialize doesn't make you necessarily more advanced or better in certain areas. A lot of it has to do with how you're wired, what you do, how you're taught to play the game. But again, I think experience is always the best tool, and being around the right guys. Like we could look at Drake May, who was good last year when he played, but I think Josh McDaniels has been perfect for him in how he's brought him along and how he's taught him to play the position. It's different than a lot of people are being taught in this league, and I think that's led a great deal to his success. And so finding a team or a situation, I always say that quarterbacks all see the game differently, that you could give 3 really good quarterbacks the same play, and one quarterback would be like, oh, love it, favorite play. Another guy would be like, oh, it's okay, I like it. And then there might be a third guy that goes, I don't like that at all. I don't want to run that because I don't see the game the way that you're telling me I need to see it for this play. And so like when I got with Mike Martz in St. Louis, we saw the game so perfectly in tune. And so when he would draw a play up or call a play, I knew exactly. I could see it the way he saw it. And so it was like we were like-minded in everything that we were doing. And I was with other guys where I get in there and I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand this. What are you asking me to do? What are you hoping to? And so you go into games and you're just not as confident and comfortable. And so finding that, I think, is also really important. I think Drake has found that with Josh. I believe Sam found that maybe a little bit last year with Kevin O'Connell, but found it really this year as they've really played in his wheelhouse with Clint Kubiak. And so I think that's a big part of it, too, that we don't think about enough because everybody on the outside just thinks, okay, you're a quarterback, you're playing in this, figure it out. Like, make it work. But it's not always as comfortable. Every system you go into isn't just like, oh, this is just like the last system. Now I just wearing a different uniform and I just need to play in it. People design and do things differently, and thinking the game, I think, is really a big part of it.
As far as Drake May goes, he takes a lot of sacks. They're still in the Super Bowl, but do you think that's something he can grow out of? Is it something that's going to affect him later on? How can you coach that out of a young quarterback?
The hardest thing, I think, to coach, and, I was a guy that wasn't very athletic, and so I was going to play in the pocket, and, that was my game. For these guys now that are so athletic and have the ability to extend plays, whether that be extending it in the pocket or extending it outside the pocket, I think it's got to be a really tough line to go, okay, when's it time to throw this one away when the last one I bought time and threw a 30-yard touchdown pass? Like, how do I figure out that balance? And again, I don't know the answer to that because I've never been that guy, but I think that's where some of these guys fall is they're so used to making plays that they want to make every play. And then when they don't make one or it's a fumble, we're like, throw the ball away. Like, what are you doing? It's like, well, didn't you see me in the last game? I did that 6 times, and it led to us, winning a game. And so that's where it's really hard, is that I just don't know how you do that and how when this play is over and this play I'm going to escape. And so whether you coach it out of them, whether they get better at realizing that, whether they're just smarter and go, I'm just not going to try to make every play. I'm okay throwing the ball away here, and moving on. I talked to Sam earlier in the week. He did an interview for Game Day Morning, and I asked him, having a great defense, does it make you more aggressive or more conservative? And he looked back at me and goes, a little bit of both. That there's some times where I feel like I can do a little bit more. If there's something there, I can push the ball down the field, or I can buy a little bit of time, and if I get sacked, my defense will bail me out. And then there's other times where I'm like, I don't have to make this play. I can just take the sack. I can just throw it away. I can give up a little bit earlier because I know I've got a great defense. So I just think all of that goes into playing this position and trying to balance and manage and understand in this, because every play is different, right? I want to say, well, I made the play the last time, so I'm going to make it this time. Doesn't always work that way. And so, I think it's just much harder for these guys that are so good at prolonging the play to tell them, you got to know when to give up. Because there's no there's no coach that can say, well, here's why you should have given up on that one. Well, I can only tell you because you fumbled it, right? There was nothing that showed itself to say, oh, you got to know this happened, so give up on a play. It's just really hard.
Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, our teammate here at Westwood One. One last question for you before we let you go. Is there an angle to this game that you think there's something in this game that people are not talking about that will be a big difference on Sunday when you're calling the game here on Westwood One Sports?
You say not talking about. I mean, you talk about every little aspect.
Yeah.
But I think, again, I look at the quarterback position and I look at it and say, okay, which team or which defense forces one of these teams to have the quarterback to play drop back football, meaning you take the run game out of it, you eliminate the play action, and you say, you got nothing else. Yeah. Sam Darnold, can you go win this game with your right arm? Drake May, can you win this game with your right arm? If these teams have balance, I believe both teams can win. They both have good running games. They both got some weapons on the outside. But you want to try to force one of these quarterbacks into having to drop back 35, 40 times in the game and win it on their own. And I think if one of these defenses, which two really good defenses, can force that, that will go a long way. And it could go either way. We saw Sam in the championship game carry his team with his right arm. Hasn't done it a lot, but he did it in the championship game. We've seen Drake do it a lot this year. So it could go either way. But that's what I want to do, is I want to force a young quarterback or a guy that's never been here to show me on the biggest stage you can swing for swing, beat our defense, and win this football game.
Have a great broadcast on Sunday night. Also have a great pregame on the NFL Network. We'll be listening. You and Kevin Harlan will have the call right here on Westwood One. Thanks,
awesome.
Kurt.
Thanks, guys.
Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, stopping by, talking quarterbacks with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. I mean, that was fantastic. I love talking to Kurt Warner and talking football and talking quarterbacks.
Nerd stuff. I love it.
Of course. I mean, it's the best. I mean,
that's the good way. In the good way.
Yeah, right. And like that is the best. I love that kind of breakdown. And you can listen to Kurt on the broadcast with Kevin Harlan right here on Westwood One on Sunday, Super Bowl 60, Seahawks and the Patriots. Our pregame coverage starts at noon Eastern right here on Westwood One Sports and Westwood One. And also, Kurt Warner will be on 8.5 hours of coverage, a pregame coverage, NFL Game Day morning, the Super Bowl Sunday special. It starts at 9 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. So can't wait. And I'm one of those people, like I know that we're here and we're in it and we're talking Super Bowl all week.
Yeah.
I like setting aside most of my day to consume the final pregame analysis breakdown, every angle of the last football game of the year. I participate. I watch it. I like it. I know some people try and say like, I'll tune in for the game. I like to eat up all this stuff, all the breakdown of the final game of the year.
Yeah, because you don't get another one for, 6-7 months. You got to wait a while. And then what do we do? We got to, obviously, we'll break down the draft and we'll do all that kind of stuff. But a real NFL game, you got to wait until September all the way for that. So
don't remind me.
I know it's going to be a while. So, I mean, listen, we're here. We're talking to all these players, talking about the game. You want to consume as much of the coverage as possible. And I think he does bring up a good point that, if you don't have the run game, if you don't have play action, if you don't have all that, because we are talking about two very good defenses. We've spent a lot of time talking about the Seahawks defense. The Patriots defense isn't as great, but they're still very, very good. They're still a top 10 defense in the NFL. And if they can get to Sam Darnold and they can stop the run and they take that element away, is he going to be able to do it? Like, he played the game of his life in the NFC Championship game, but what we've seen from him in the past is a guy who kind of flounders in the playoffs. And if he can't do it, Drake May has had an MVP. Drake May could win an MVP tonight. Like, we could be going into the Super Bowl talking about MVP Drake May.
How likely do you think that is?
I don't think it's very likely.
Yeah, Stafford's going to be the MVP.
But here's the thing, though. If you go to, like, ESPN.com and they ask all their experts who should win, they all say it should be him. It should all be Drake May. That's what they all say. That's what they want to say. But it should be Matthew Stafford. It absolutely is going to be Matthew Stafford, but everybody says that it should be Drake May.
Sitting down with Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. It's Bleck and Abdalla from noon to 3 Eastern each and every weekday. Keith Bullock joins Bleck and Abdalla. The former Titans linebacker sits down.
Yes,
What's
sir.
going on? We've talked a lot this week about defense.
Okay.
Because I think both of these teams have really good defensive units, and I think that's going to be a big part of what we're watching on Sunday, Super Bowl 60 with the Patriots and the Seahawks. What do you think?
I think you're onto something. But no, seriously, I think that the Seattle defense has more of an advantage just because Drake May is only in his second year. And if you've watched during the playoffs, he hasn't been as eye-popping as he was during the regular season. I remember when he came to Tennessee and he lit them up for about 360 and like 3 touchdowns. And it's like, yo, Drake May is the real deal. And then you watch him through the season as he progressed and kept helping New England win games. In the playoffs, I feel he's done everything in his power not to lose the game. Like, you know what I mean? He hasn't had like those eye-popping moments. And look, you're playing on the biggest stage on Sunday. This is his opportunity. I just feel that Sam Darnold, being the more seasoned quarterback, already have gone through some down moments, obviously with the Jets, and then his journey to Carolina, and then I think he obviously made the turn. Not obviously, I think he made the turn when he came here and played for the 49ers and got with Kyle Shanahan. And then you saw what he did in Minnesota. I was a little skeptical this year going in, but, you know, he's showed up all year. So I think that both defenses will have a role to play in this, but I think Sam Darnold will figure out the puzzle faster than Drake May, and there's only 60 minutes.
It's got to help, too, when you're a guy like Sam Darnold, knowing that you can go into a game and be a little bit more aggressive, because you can make a couple mistakes in your defense. As great of a defense as you have with the Seahawks, you can make a mistake and, like, okay, if I throw an interception, maybe they can force a 3-and-out. Maybe they can hold the Patriots to a field goal. I can be a little bit more aggressive in this game because these guys, they've bailed me out all season. Maybe they can bail me out again in the biggest stage here.
And that's a great point, because I feel like Sam Darnold goes into the game exactly like you said, but then Drake May is like, man, I don't want to mess this up. He's only in his second year. You know what I mean? I don't want to take away from the kid's confidence, but you only have so much confidence, and especially he only knows how he's been playing. So we could watch and see, oh, he's playing, but maybe he's playing within the game plan they're giving. You know what I mean? That being said, he's not going in with the confidence as Sam Darnold. So that's where the seasoned veteran, been there before, been on bad teams, made all the mistakes you can make. Last year in Minnesota, they didn't get over the hump, and he might, but he's walking in like, Clark Kent when he went into that diner when he got the Superman power back, in Superman 2.
Back. He's back, right?
For sure.
Keith Bullock joining Bleck and Abdalla, former Titans linebacker, hanging out here on Radio Row in San Francisco, previewing Super Bowl 60. All right, so let's look at New England. Their defense, what Mike Vrabel has implemented in the way that they've played this season. Keith, what has impressed you the most about the Patriots defense this season?
I would say how Mike Vrabel kind of Belichicked his defense, right? Like, there's no real superstars on their defense. You have Gonzalez, you know what I mean? But when I can't really know, nothing pops out. But what pops out are like names like Harold Landry and, guys that he may have picked from the Titans or got from like guys that he's familiar with. Like, maybe another team wouldn't pick them up, but Vrabel's like, I could use Gibbons because I know what he can do. I could use, these because I know what they can do because he's familiar with them as a coach. So I love coaches that it doesn't matter what the norm is. This is what I'm doing. I think coaches that realize that, have a lot of success. And also I love how New England's doing where Tennessee might be taking a page out of their book. Vrabel's a defensive guy. He brought in Josh McDaniels, offensive guy. Josh, you take the offense, I'm going to take the defense. We'll have our meetings and we'll figure it out. So with the Titans getting Robert Saleh and then getting Brian Dable. I like how you have a strong offensive mind who's been there and done it before, and you have a strong defensive mind that's been there and done it before. And I think that's New England's secret sauce. So we'll see.
How good are the Patriots, and how much of a product is it of, well, Mahomes isn't in it this year, Jared Stidham broke his ankle.
Say what we've been saying all week on the air. It's been a charmed run.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
Patriots.
Like, yo, look. But so as a former player, right, someone as I've only gone to the AFC Championship game, never been to a Super Bowl. Actually, my career is bookend on Super Bowls. The Titans went and the Giants went, and I played in between that.
Yeah, right,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That you need some luck. You need some luck, and they've had the most luck all year.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely need some luck. You need the tuck rule. You need something. Like, you know what I mean? However that works, you need some luck, but it's not their fault, right? Like, you're there. Now let's see if you can get it done. That's why I say, like, to everything you said, so for Vrabel to get there in his first year, now if he wins it, that's the ultimate luck.
Yeah, it all goes out the window with that, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Who are you picking in the game?
I'm going with Seattle, man. I like how Sam Darnold. I'm not a fan of when you're an early draft pick and in this microwave world, just throw him out there, as a rookie, and then he's terrible, but so is the coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going with Sam Darnold, I like the way that he's progressed. It's almost like Baker Mayfield, right? Oh, he's this, but like, yo, Baker is a killer now, He's not no Sam Darnold, so I just want to see Sam complete it, shoot, I'm not mad if the Patriots win and Vrabel, but if I were betting, I don't gamble. Only 21 when I'm at Vegas, but I would go with
you don't want to play 21 with Abdalla.
No.
But you go against the table?
No.
I'll split tens every once in a
what you
while.
Tell them what you
It's
do.
called gambling.
Yo, it's
That's
your
what
money.
is.
I feel the same
It's
way.
called gambling.
I wouldn't be mad at you. I'm
Just
not one
don't
of.
sit on my left.
I'm not one of those people that like get mad at how someone else plays.
We were in Vegas in October, and there was a woman at the table who was mad.
She was
Of
mad.
course,
She
they're
was
all
mad.
gonna get
She
mad.
got
They're all
left.
mad.
Hey,
They were
listen,
mad.
It's called gambling.
I wouldn't be mad at you splitting. I would actually split and double team. I would double down.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
All right,
It's
I love
gambling.
it. Thank you, Keith. We appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you guys. Thank
Keith
you.
Bullock, former Titans linebacker, joining Bleck and Abdalla. We'll be back right here on Westwood One Sports.
Sunday, it's Super Bowl 60. Patriots, Seahawks, with coverage starting at noon Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
We're leading you up into coverage. Jim Rome takes over in 17 minutes right here from Westwood 1 as he gets set for the show. Noon to 3 Eastern each and every day. Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood 1 Sports and the Westwood 1 Sports app. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM Channel 375 live from Radio Row in San Francisco. And like I said, Jim Rome's coming up. You can also check out our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, and watch us on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Streaming the show live this week from Radio Row here in San Francisco. So check it out, like and subscribe, Bleck and Abdalla Show on YouTube. Perhaps a special interview will be posted there later on this afternoon.
Interesting.
Off-site.
Perhaps.
We will hopefully that will take place in the next hour or so. So there could be something cool up on YouTube later on today. Check it out. Like and subscribe now so you know when the video is posted. Thank you to Raj and to Laura for producing today's show. Raj kicked ass today.
Yeah.
He was all over helping us out, landing Hall of Fame guests. We had a great show.
Literally.
If you missed any of the guests today, Kurt Warner, Brian Urlacher, Victor Cruz, Devin Hester, Patrick Willis, we had a ton of great football conversation. Ryan Harris joined us. Check out the podcast, Bleck and Abdalla, on Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, your favorite place to find your podcasts. As Bleck and Abdalla here, Radio Row, Westwood 1 on Thursday, and we'll be back tomorrow from noon to 3 Eastern for the final day on Radio Row. What have you thought of the week so far?
It's been great. I got to meet a Pop-Tart today, which was pretty cool for me. I'm a big college football fan, and one of my favorite things about college football is the Pop-Tart Bowl. And walking around Radio Row, you see various things, various mascots. The Colt, whatever they call him, from the Colts, the Seahawk was here. And most importantly, the Pop-Tart from the strawberry Pop-Tart from the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Oh, the strawberry. It was
the strawberry Pop-Tart from the Pop-Tart Bowl was walking around, and I jumped out of my chair.
Can you paint the scene of what took place here when that happened?
So we're sitting right now, if you're watching us on YouTube, youtube.com/@.
We're not even at
show.
the kids table today.
We're not even at the kids table. We're at an auxiliary kids table.
You know, at Thanksgiving or Christmas when the whole family comes over.
We're like at the bad kids
and
table.
then they set up the kids table, and then there's a table they put in the hallway.
Yeah.
Because they really don't want those kids to be involved in like disrupting the adults have their dinner.
Yeah.
That's where you and I are sitting here for the final
there.
hour as we get set here.
So all of a sudden, because like I said, we're by the entrance and the exit of Radio Row. All of a sudden, I see the Pop-Tart walk
great.
by, and I get up and I run. And I bolt after this Pop-Tart, and the Pop-Tart stops.
Yeah.
And right in front of the Pop-Tart is Jameis Winston.
Of course.
And I stop, and I'm like, "Excuse me, Mr. Pop-Tart, can I get a picture?" And the Pop-Tart just kind of like nods, and I stop.
Are you sure it was a mister?
I don't know. I just presumed. It's probably bad
That's
of me
not
to
right.
presume. Actually, I just said Pop-Tart.
To assume in this day and age,
I just said
what's
Pop-Tart.
wrong with
to
you?
be fair, I just said Pop-Tart. I didn't say Mr. Pop-Tart. I just said, "Can I get a selfie?"
Hello,
and the Pop-Tart
Mr.
just said,
Pop-Tart.
"Yeah." Just said, "Yeah." And so I did this, and I didn't know Arvin Williams, our program director, was filming. And I turn around, and he goes, "You know, Jameis Winston was right there, and you chose to get a selfie with the Pop-Tart." And I turn around, and I go, "I don't care about Jameis Winston." Like, Jameis Winston to me is just a guy walking around Radio Row. I'm never going to see that Pop-Tart ever again.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to ask Jameis Winston? All these other football questions that we've asked all these other people? The Pop-Tart is the Pop-Tart.
And that's the moment Armin Williams realized he made a mistake.
He made a horrible
putting Bleck and
mistake,
Abdalla on the air noon to 3 Eastern here on Westwood One Sports and sending us to Radio Row. As Abdalla lit, because I was sitting here at the desk waiting for our next conversation with whoever was going to come over to the show, the conversations and the interviews that we've been conducting here. And I saw you stand up and you just bolted out of my view.
Yeah.
And in the periph, I was like, oh, man, Abdalla's really got to go. Like that's
Have
like
you
I
seen
get
the
it.
video? The video's right here. They're like,
Armin put it out?
Yeah, Armin put it out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can see Jameis.
I'm 5 feet away from Jameis Winston. Like there's
like a crowd
There's
around
one
Jameis.
person separating me and like I easily could have taken a picture with Jameis Winston and just said something to him and it wouldn't have mattered. But no, I chose Pop-Tart. I chose Pop-Tart over Jameis. And that's fine with me, and that's a decision I'll live with the rest of my life, and I will not regret that decision for the rest of my life.
Speaking of decisions, here on Bleck and Abdalla throughout the week, we've tried to bring you a lot of great football conversation. We care about the food in the city of San Francisco. As we celebrate each and every year on the Bleck and Abdalla show, Super Bowl week, it's Soup week.
Yes.
As Abdalla's quest to find a new soup each and every day to tell us about it. And so tell us what happened yesterday and what's your plan for today.
So yesterday the haters didn't want me to get soup. They just didn't. They
Who are
didn't
the
want
haters?
to. You.
No, I'm
You.
not a hater.
No, you didn't want me to get soup.
That's
you
not
said
the case.
After we were done with our show and we were doing all the stuff at the
That's
post-show
not the
interviews
case.
and everything like that, you're like, let's go get food. And I was like, okay. You took me on like a 3-hour walk around the city. We couldn't find any food.
Up
We
and
couldn't
down the
find-
hills.
Up and down the hills.
Yeah.
My legs were tired. I was out of breath.
We
and
gotta
you're
get our
like-
steps,
and
man.
you're like, let's find a sandwich. And I found a sandwich. No soup to be found. We went back to the hotel. You made dinner reservations. I believe you made them on purpose at a place that did not have any soup on the water. What place on the water is? You found the only place in San Francisco on the water
With no bisque.
that didn't have
With
a
no-
chowder,
yes,
a
nothing.
bisque, a stew, nothing. Not a single seafood soup on this menu. So I had to.
They didn't have soup or
Anything.
I mean, they had salads, I guess.
I had to
but-
Grubhub a soup at 10 o'clock at night because I am committed to Super Week. So I got the lobster bisque from Hyde Street Seafood House and Raw Bar, a very highly rated place, like an old school seafood restaurant in downtown San Francisco. They've got like the marlin on the wall and like all the boat paraphernalia on the wall.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like
I mean
that.
you're
It's
in a
great.
nautical town.
Absolutely.
There's water all
so
around us.
The lobster bisque was delicious. It was creamy. It had tons of lobster chunks in it. It was awesome.
Well, you know it's good when there's a lobster chunk.
I put it on Twitter at Adam A. Abdalla. This is how I described it: rich, decadent.
Okay.
A decadent bisque, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 bowls. So that's day 3. The first day was a shrimp bisque, and day 2 was a clam chowder. So we've had 2 bisques and a chowder so far.
What's your plan of attack for today?
So I'm just gonna let the soup come to me again. We're gonna.
Okay, so
we're going to dinner tonight somewhere, and it better have soup.
I didn't look ahead. You're right. I guess that's my fault. I took us to a Spanish tapas place last night. I didn't realize.
We're in the bay. We're on the water, and you went Spanish tapas. What is wrong with you?
It was highly rated. So
what?
Okay, let me ask you this: was it good?
Yeah, it was fine.
Last night.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
I think you and Raj were out on it. I don't think you guys liked it last night
because
it was sharing.
It was good. I have no problem
tapas
sharing.
Is sharing.
We had a good. What was that fish we had? We had a good fish.
Branzino.
We had a good branzino. It was a good fish. We had fish. We had seafood. I just think that you purposely picked a place with no soup, no chowder, no bisque on purpose.
No.
I
didn't try and sabotage it.
I think you did.
This is not the way I respond to you trying to shoehorn Zoo News into every show that we broadcast, especially live from Radio Row.
I haven't tried to do Zoo News from here.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I haven't.
I didn't intentionally do that. I wasn't aware, and quite honestly, I don't understand how a restaurant exists without offering soup.
So do I. I was shocked.
Maybe I'm old school, but I just assume every restaurant offers a soup of some form.
I thought that there would be at least a stew of something, some kind of
it wasn't. We also didn't go to some super fancy place. It was affordable. It was
Chris.
It was nice.
Super anything. I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right. I mean, we only have 2 minutes left on the show.
I know what I did.
Why would you do that? I mean,
know what I did.
We've got a national audience trying to listen to soup conversation, and we're trying to hold everyone to then hand it off to Jim Rome, and then you serve up a joke like that.
I know what I did.
It's unbelievable. Bleck and Abdalla here live from Radio Row. So we have one more day here from San Francisco. This has been an absolute blast this week. And I think my takeaway from talking to all the players that we talked to today in the NFL is that essentially I think people are happy that both of these teams are here, even though there's a lot of AFC former players who don't like the Patriots. I think they like the way that Mike Vrabel coaches and kind of the vibe around the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've picked up on from the players. There isn't a villain in this year's Super Bowl, and I think that's interesting.
What I've noticed is there are AFC and NFC players, like we talked to Victor Cruz, who don't like the Patriots. There's no NFC players that are rooting against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no NFC players that are like, nah, man.
But it's not this year's Patriots that they are rooting against. They're all angry at the past.
Well, they just don't like the logo. They just don't want the Patriots to win anymore. And I think that everybody is, and look, the Patriots can play up the underdog if they want to. That's what they should do. Everybody is picking the Seahawks. There are very few people, and I'm sure people will pick the Patriots to cover. I think I saw 4.5 points or higher is 12-2 against the spread in the last 14 Super Bowls with that point spread or higher. So the odds are that the Patriots should cover. It should be a tight game. But the Seahawks, everybody's picking the Seahawks to win this game so far.
The other latest in the NBA is we have the NBA trade deadline coming up at 3 Eastern. So Jim Rome will have any breaking news if anything takes place right at the buzzer with the trade deadline. But essentially, the Bucks have told teams Giannis will not be traded until the summer.
Yeah, and that's probably their best thing they can do is acquire young talent where they know how high those draft picks are going to be so they can build for the future. This is a very deep draft, and now you know what those draft picks are going to be moving forward.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Radio Row in San Francisco. We'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern. Up next on Westwood One Sports, Jim Rome live from San Francisco.
This is Westwood One Sports.